Thank you, gentlemen and dimes. Coming.
Hey guys, it's Bert. I'd like to ask for a small favor. If you plan on buying my book, Life of the Party, then please pre-order it at bertbertbert.com. The pre-orders are literally the deciding factor on how well the book does opening week, and how well it does opening week determines how well the book does overall. Writing this book is one of the proudest achievements in my entire life, and I want to share it with as many people as possible. You pre-ordering it will help me do that. So do me a solid, pull out your credit card, go to bertbertbert.com, and pre-order Life of the Party. Thank you. I love you. I love you with all my heart. Today's guest, stand-up comedian, New York Times best-selling author, and regular on Chelsea Lately, my friend, Jen Kirkman.
This is the Bertcast.
No, me too.
Okay, good.
How else would you talk into a mic?
No. 'Cause some people have like the arm, and it makes it feel professional.
No. Oh, look at your Letterman thing.
Oh yeah, Justin Stengel stole that for me.
Oh, he did. That's
Yeah.
so nice. I was just thought, maybe they give you your cue cards when you're done.
No, I was. We got done, and
Fucking awesome.
I remember Bertcast had. Were you ever repped by Barry?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't in New York, or I don't even know where you had to be, but I wasn't in that world. I think. It's too young.
Really?
I'm trying to make it seem like I'm a lot younger. Well, I'm 39, but I just never got in the Bertcast wave. I don't think.
Wait,
I don't even think he knows who I am.
I want to start by telling a secret.
Oh, what?
So, and I'm sure you've heard this somehow because everyone on podcasts is like a snitch. But Ari Shaffir and I were talking about you on his podcast.
Oh yeah, someone tweeted me that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, you tweeted me like, did I do something bad? And I was like, no, because I've literally, and I will say this to the grave. My guest today is Jen Kirkman.
Oh, we're recording. Yeah, I thought we might be. I like that.
But I've never, and I will say wholeheartedly, I've never said a bad word about you because I liked you from day one. But
yeah.
I said to Ari, and I was going to say this to you because I think everyone enjoys a compliment. The only thing I said about you, and I couldn't say this to you in the tweet because it would sound creepy.
Yeah.
I tried to reply back.
So you brought me into your couch, into your back of your house
to
garage.
do it. Yeah. With my wife and kids in the front. Yeah. So I said to Ari, we were talking about Montreal, and I said, "Can I tell you something? I got in the elevator with Jen Kirkman.
I was so out of it. I didn't even realize it was you for a minute.
I was checking you out. Like, I swear to God, Ari's like, does she look good? I go, she looks fucking amazing. You were in the elevator, and I was looking at you, and I was like, holy shit, who's this? And I literally got to your face and was still like, hey, okay. And then you went, hey. And I went, oh, my God. And I felt like such a fucking creep.
That's great.
And that's what I said about you that I'm sure someone said. I don't know how someone can. Everyone, I believe, I told you this, I believe comics start troll accounts to fuck with other comics.
Oh, you think that?
I had a friend who used to call and reserve 45 tickets to his enemy's show. I'll tell you the name. Put the mic aside.
Yeah, I actually knew that.
Yeah, and
I love that you think that's not going to get picked up.
Oh yeah, I'll just edit it out.
Yeah, but I'd heard that about said person.
Yeah, and it was like, and so
I heard it was only one incident, but I guess it's a.
Oh, I'm
glad I'm not on his. Well, it's so funny because I can meet people 50 times, have the best night of your life where you're like, I love this person. And then they can be standing in front of me 2 days later and I don't remember. I have a very bad thing with faces and names. Matching whatever. And I hadn't seen you in years. And, also, I had just I was such a stressful time. I had tweeted you this. I was having this stressful time and my family was all craziness. I got some weird text and I literally got into the elevator having gotten a weird text and I was like, oh shit, I'm stuck up in Montreal. And I get in the elevator with that on my mind. And then I saw you and I usually can tell if someone's checking me out because you can feel.
I'm really good at it.
Yeah, but you can feel the energy. You can even feel when they're not trying to check you out. And it's always like, oh, get me out of this elevator.
Yeah.
And I could not even tell anyone was checking me out. Then when we realized, oh, hey, it's you, I thought, oh my God, this whole time he's known it's me. He's been waiting for me to say hi and he thinks I'm a fucking dick.
Oh no.
So then I get this tweet from this guy that was like, you lost some weight. You think you're too good for all the comics. You ignored Bert Kreischer in Montreal. And I was like, oh my God.
I never said that you ignored me at all.
I completely believe it. I think someone was just listening to that and doing that. And it could be a comic. But what was sent to me, he said to me, and Ari got all the credit, was Ari said, Jen's looking the best she's ever looked. So I guess he didn't say that.
Oh, it was,
fuck you, Ari.
Yeah, Ari. I
haven't seen him in a while.
Ari and I. I've talked about you twice.
Oh boy.
Once on my podcast a long time ago, And I said, I remember it was we were talking about podcasting beef, and I explained the first time how we met. We got into beef.
The improv beef. I didn't have the beef. It was you and Paul beef.
No. It was me and you. Wait, can I?
Oh yeah, that's right. We had a beef on Guys with Feelings.
That was the first time I realized people listen to podcasts. So I'd go up to Jason Nash's house and I'd do a podcast. I didn't think anyone was fucking listening.
Yeah.
I didn't even listen to them.
Oh, because I listened to you tell something.
I listened. Right. I went on after I did it. I listened to a couple, and I was like, and I loved you on the show.
Yeah.
And then I saw you do stand up, and I don't know what I said. This is actually a really good story because
we both don't remember what
this is my wife Leanne.
Hi, Leanne.
And so I went on. It was. It's so long ago. I have a hard time remembering.
Wait, you know why you think I look good? Because I look like your wife. That's like the ultimate.
She's like
a cute brunette. Yeah. She has bangs. I don't.
Yeah, you do kind of look like my wife.
I was like, wait, that looks like me. All right, go.
But I did. I went. What had happened was, and I'll be 100% culpable. I'm still to this day. There's a lot of people whose my comedy does not compliment.
Right.
Like, I'm not. I'm definitely. I would like to be past the Paul F. Tompkins stuff. I think he's still. I think he probably. I know. We had a weird interaction.
I honestly think that whole night, it was just this night where like the improv was doing this thing. This was back when the improv was. I remember years and years, maybe 10 years ago. It was like everyone performed at the improv, just all kinds of acts, whatever. Everyone was there, everyone was hanging out, everyone was having a good time. Then they would have like a comic go, I'm going to have these 4 friends or whatever. And then a lot of times you end up picking people who have the same kind of energy.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was going through a phase where I was personally going through a bad comedy phase where I was trying to do the low energy thing. Like my real thing is like neurotic storytelling and blah, blah, blah. And I never thought of it as alternative, like in terms of like whatever. Because to me, it was like I grew up watching Richard Lewis and that's what I thought I was like. And I'm naturally like that. But it didn't always work for clubs. And the only time I went to clubs was if Conan's scouting, you need to do 5 minutes. And it's so hard to get my thing down to 5 minutes. Not because it's like so brilliant, but I can't shut the fuck up.
I have a hard time doing 5 minutes too.
Exactly. And so the big thing when I first started was these Dimitri Martin people, the one-liners and all that stuff. And I desperately wanted to be part of that.
So badly. Me too.
So I was like, so I did that for a while and I sucked at it. It was just someone saying sentences. So I had to really rep as like an inconsistent comic who was still kind of finding her voice. Even after at that point, I've been doing it 6 years. I've been doing it like 15 now. So it's like, even at that point, I should have been more developed. So every time I did a club, it was like, please don't fuck this up. I don't want to be seen as someone who doesn't do well at clubs or whatever. Yeah. So I'm my own trip that night. Then Paul has Eddie Pepitone on, and this is like before he got kind of successful or maybe felt comfortable in his own thing, like screaming at the crowd. It was not working, and Howard Kramer's kind of always looking down, and they're all hilarious.
I was so honestly. Let's pretend we're at therapy right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was so excited to be in that group of people because I think Eddie Pepitone's hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought Howard is one of the most interesting people to watch do stand up because he doesn't do all the things sometimes an audience needs. He's not do a lot of hand holding.
Right, exactly.
And I like that because I would get the joke and then you felt excited that you got the joke. You told one of my favorite jokes because I was going to therapy at the time.
Oh, and I don't do this joke anymore, but I remember you liked it. What was it?
Your friend said, you're telling a story about your therapist and your friend goes, you sound like you go to therapy just to win.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not paying someone to lose. It's one of my favorite jokes.
That's good.
And
I should bring that back.
And I'd seen Paul F. Tompkins' 30 half-hour special that afternoon.
Oh,
that afternoon that we all worked, and I was like, he's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, he's amazing. I remember thinking to myself, I need to kind of scout out these people and be around what is happening, because my stand-up is not, it's changed a lot, but it's, now I don't even know what it is. But it wasn't, I was trying to be like Dimitri and I couldn't. And so that, that was the same thing. It was more this energy of what I do now. It's a little storytelling, very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so that night I was so excited to be there.
Oh.
And I think I got my feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Paul didn't want me there the next night. He had marked my name off the list. And I showed up the next night. And the only reason I was there is because the club asked me to be there.
Right. Well, I think that was the ultimate situation that like you and Paul were caught in the middle of is they said to a comedian, here's your night, you're going to headline. And when you're headlining, you want to be in control of the room. And not to say he wasn't in control, because that would be insinuating that he like can't work a room, but something happened where it was just like the laughs were building.
It's like everyone's been in that.
It was
exact
quiet
moment.
laughs, but it was okay. But by the time Paul got on stage, it would have been explosive.
Yeah.
But then they throw you on.
I totally get it.
And you break the room open. Now they're done because a headliner went on before a headliner. And then it doesesn't mean you're funnier than Paul or he's bad or everyone's. But it's just one of those
very different
things.
energies.
Yeah. And so then
and
he
I'm
gets
very
on,
pandering.
And he gets
especially
on.
at the time.
And but at that point they've already seen like a whole show. So I still think he did well, but he felt like, I
thought he did great. I sat in the back fucking losing my shit.
I think he did do well, but I think it's one of those things, and I don't have this. Well, maybe I do, because I think I kind of have. I think comedians are comedians, male or female, so you all that kind of, even if it's more male ego, like, I think it's like not ego, he has a big ego, but the actual feelings, ego, you're hurt. Yeah. It's like, I'm the man here, this is my show, and some other man did it. So I think it's that kind of thing, and I think the improv did this horrible thing where they would give these comedians who don't work there all the time a night and then distrust who they booked and be like, we need someone in there to pick this up. And so that was kind of the more like, either you tell me I can have this night or I fucking can't. Yeah. And so I think that's what it was putting his foot down. Unfortunately, you're the cog in the wheel to the improv. Like, no, you gave me this night. We're not adding other people. I don't care if Richard Pryor walks in. Like, fuck off. So I think that was kind of the thing. But I think you had said, and I don't even know if you said it to me, and you might not have even said it, but it somehow got back into my head. And that's what I talked about on Guys with Feelings, that you said, she should just go for jokes, or she should go for laughs. And I was like, I am going for laughs. All I want is laughs. But I'm just not getting them. Maybe you did not say that, but something got back to me.
I'll tell you, I know exactly what I said that was construed wrong. I remember, so I said something I went on Jason's podcast, and I said, he said, I heard you worked with Howard and Jen and all them. And I was like, it sucked. I got fired. And he was like, what? And I go, and Paul did. And he said to Jason something very different happened. Mm. I mean, from my perspective, Paul told me to please leave. And I was like, he was like, do you need, and he looked at me like, and I know he was trying to be nice, but he was like, do you need money or something? And I was like, no.
Do you need money?
And he was like, are you practicing for something? And I was like, no. I was like, to be honest with you, man, they called me and asked me to come down. And so then I left. My feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
So I go on Guys with Feelings, and I talk about my feelings. And
it's amazing.
But I said, it's such a great show.
Yeah.
And maybe I was being defensive. I don't know. But I remember what I said was, Jen Kirkman is hilarious. I mean, her act wouldn't work in Iowa.
Right.
And I remember,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because it does.
But because I had just been to Iowa and I talked about going to therapy, and someone fucking groaned.
Oh.
And I was like, and that's what I was trying to relay. So
I take it very personally. Like, I can't do the road. I'm one of these alternative comics. I pile all this history on it.
It's a bunch of shit. But I had actually said, for two reasons, because I did think you were very funny. Uh-huh. And I was like, and I'd hung out drinking with you guys that night, and I felt like I would become friends.
No recollection that we did that.
And so, I said,
that's what happens when I drink.
I was very complimentary to you, Howard, Eddie, and even Paul, but then so you go on Guys with Feelings. So you ready to hear how you ultimately win this? I say all that, and I don't remember a fucking thing. I download Guys with Feelings. I fly to South Africa. I'm coming back from South Africa. I have a 33-hour flight. I put in Guys with Feelings with you because I'm excited because you're one of my favorite guests on there.
Oh, did I say something bad?
And you start slamming me. And I'm like...
No, I didn't. I know I wouldn't have, because I know you would have heard it.
Fuck you. Woody Allen works in... I remember what you said, because I started obsessing, and I'm on a plane. There's no internet.
Fuck you,
There's
Neil.
no way.
Oh, you know what? This is so funny, because you hit on something, even by complimenting me, that back then was this insecure sore spot for me.
Really?
Yes. So that's why I was reacting like that. And I'm not just bullshitting. This is like real feelings time. And when you said that, because you know that joke that you just said I did, yeah. I think I did it 5 times. And I did it that night, and it was never part of my act, but I just wanted to see, because I was trying to create this persona, like I'm neurotic, I don't know, whatever. And then my life changed so much, but this isn't relevant to that. But I didn't like the, I wanted to be like the neurotic person because I didn't want to be the slutty girl or the whoever. So I was like, I'll just play up my neuroses. And sometimes it would be reflected back to me. That's not mainstream. You can't talk about that on TV. Go back to the UCB theater, which is like to the people listening, like a small theater that 20-something hipster boys come out to. And it's like,
it is a really great place to perform.
Not anymore for me, but
really,
I bomb all the time because I don't talk about things they care about. I talk about like being 40 and divorced. You know, they're like, ah. So, but at the time I was very insecure about, like, I would want, if I talked about therapy, I would want it to come off in a universal, we get it even though we're not in therapy.
Yeah.
Or she's so out there like Richard Lewis or Woody Allen. She's so neurotic. I really wanted it. I was organically that neurotic, but I wanted it to be read as different but loved by millions. Instead of every time anyone mentioned back to me what I was doing, I would then get mad because there must have been something not true about it for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was that comment, instead of going, why do you say I wouldn't work in Iowa? And you go, oh, well, I just went there and I said therapy. I actually said, oh my God. Oh, good point. Because now I don't want to go to Ireland because I've heard the same thing, that they kind of aren't that into the talking about your feelings, like at least in public.
That's stereotypically Irish.
It's so, yeah, it's like that. What I've heard from friends like who've done Ireland, like when I heard Marin did bad there and stuff like that, or I thought I heard him say he did. Some people have said, yeah, if you mention therapy on stage, like everyone goes, but they would never say anything. So you're not going to get a woo. Or if you mention, hey, are you brokenhearted? Have you had a breakup? Have you had this? They don't say anything. Yeah. So I assume now, because I'm so introspective and I try to talk about like, hey, everyone's a fuck up. My grandmother died on the floor alone. Like, I don't have kids. I just think they would be like, tell some jokes. So, but I'm very secure in myself and think I'm a good comic and I work the country. But I guess then I was just like little Bambi legs, like so insecure.
What happened?
I love that. Also, Jason revs you up to slam people. Although I didn't win because that wasn't nice.
No, it's and here's the beauty of this, and I learned a lot out of that interaction. I learned a lot. First of all, it was my first podcasting beef. Since then, I've fucking through the roof. But,
really? I don't think I have any.
I'm at a peak season.
I'm
of people
like
hating
honored
me.
to be part of it.
Oh, that was my very first one.
Oh,
and
I would never have a beef with you now. I adore you.
It broke my heart because I really liked you, and I went, "What the fuck?" And what it was me getting out of myself and just talking and not thinking about things before I said things, and I landed in London, and I went to a computer to write you an email to like.
Oh my God! This is like an international drama.
I got to London. I had like a 4-hour layover, and I'm like, I got to write her an email. But I had time on that flight to go, hey, whatever she heard is real. Like, I remember I wrote you a letter.
Real to me, whether or not.
Yeah, it's real to you. Whether or not I think I said it, I said it. Like, you can say what I go. I really had a growing moment then because I went, wow. Whatever I said was real. And Bert, I was like, you need to let go of whatever energy trying to go back and forth with her and just simply apologize because you liked her stand up, and whatever she heard is valuable. Like that, you can't deny her feelings. So I wrote you a letter in London. I
remember that.
And I
was
said,
super excited.
I said, I apologize. Who the fuck am I to say you can't work in Iowa? I have no idea. I can barely work in Iowa. Why am I telling you can't work in Iowa?
I don't think anyone can really work in Iowa.
There's not a lot of clubs left. And then I wrote you a letter, and then I didn't get a response. I think I sent it to Jason. Jason sent it to you.
Yes.
But what's great about this is that I'm going to say like 3 months later, 4 months later,
3 months
you
later?
wrote back and you went, I've been meaning to reply to this, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And I apologize because it looks like I blew you off, but I didn't. I appreciate your apology. Thank you. And I was like,
did I say anything like I probably was overreacting? I'm an idiot. No.
I don't remember. I probably could fucking find the email, I'm sure.
Oh, I never want to see it. That's such a bad time.
But I was like, I felt so good about it that I was like, I need to own whatever bullshit I put out there.
Yeah.
Because look, I have real feelings. Like everyone's got real feelings.
Yeah.
And then even Jason was like, Paul said that you misinterpreted what happened that evening, and he wants to talk to you. And I was like, please give him my email. And then he never. And then Ari and I had a really awkward interaction with him. He was walking down the street, and I went to we were doing a podcast at the Comedy Store, and I went to go up to apologize to him and try to connect, and he walked right by.
When was that?
2 months ago.
No way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've mentioned him to you since then, and I feel like he's Mr. Therapized, and I think
all of us have at some point. Does he still drink?
Not like a big drinker, no.
I'm still a big drinker.
I mean, he will but he drinks like with his wife, and I come over and we have some wine, and there's like 3 people there, like that kind of thing.
It really bummed me out because you can't deny if someone's funny. If they make you fucking laugh. I have his album on my, for all the stuff that people would think is going on between me and him, I'm almost certain that I have Paul F. Tompkins, that I bought his album. It's
so funny because whenever we've talked about that incident, I think we only did once, it was really about the improv and how he doesn't work. Yeah. He doesn't like to work there anymore.
Impersonal.
Oh, yeah.
I still think he's funny.
He's hilarious. Well, I think maybe, maybe it's one of those things too where it's like, were you outside the Comedy Store on the Sunset Strip with Ari Shaffir?
I thought he didn't recognize me.
He might not have.
And we were doing a podcast, and so there's a million things.
I'm going to be honest, and I'm not putting words in Paul's mouth. He has never said a word about Ari Shaffir, but he probably just saw Ari Shaffir and was like, "Don't feel like dealing." I mean, that's quite a personality. And you're walking in the street at night. He probably had somewhere to be. I didn't recognize you. I remember you as more of a redhead. I swear to God, and I'm not confusing you with Bill Burr. In my mind's eye, you had red hair, but that was a long time ago. We were all really drunk that night.
Oh, yeah.
So I hadn't seen your face since then. So that's why I didn't recognize you in the elevator.
But it's interesting to see someone especially
I think
the way
if you sat down and talked to him, he would be like, "Dude, it's totally fine." I think he already feels that way.
Hopefully, I don't know.
But I just don't think anyone coming at you with Ari Shaffir down the street is like, "Oh, let's have a conversation."
Ari was so high. He had eaten some brownie, and I was not. I was drinking beer, and Ari was just he was barely listening, and I was but it's so interesting because then right around then, kind of like the internet explosion of seeing people, I could see the set you did last night. After
right,
then.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I started seeing you a lot, and then you started doing. I want to say this seems like a big jump now, but I think you started doing Chelsea.
Yeah, no, I've been there 5 years.
Yeah, if that makes sense, probably 5 years. And so in a weird way, I was always like, only because it's we had that hiccup and then we made up, and I was like, I'm so glad to see you're doing so well.
Oh, good. No, I never was I had so much defensiveness back then, and thank God through all my therapy and stuff I got. And then you just grow up. It's so uncomfortable to do stand-up because sometimes you throw something out there, someone sees you, and then that's who you are to them. Whether it's you're not that funny because you didn't get laughs that night, or it's that night I wasn't really getting many laughs, but I was like, I know this is funny. But it's instead of being a comic understands that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm getting judged because I was always judging myself. And if I know your listeners don't know me, so I hope.
I'm sure they do.
Well, I would just like to tell them I am funny. You see me live, you'll have the fucking time of your life. I love to perform live now. I am so different. I'm just in the audience. It's like an hour and a half show. It's craziness. It's wonderful. I love it.
You're stand up, and I'm gonna this is gonna sound creepy, but I'll say it. Your stand up's kind of stand up where once you watch it, then in a weird way you can be in interactions in life and then go, God, I wish Jen was here to comment on this.
Oh, that's my greatest that's what I would want people to say.
Yeah.
That's exactly the kind of compliment I like. It's just because it's one of those things where it's I feel like that can really be in other words, people will come up to me about Chelsea. Because I've written for her for 5 years on the show Chelsea Lately. Couldn't remember the name. And people come up to me on the road, and sometimes her fans don't quite understand that all the writers have been comedians for decades. So they kind of think they don't know what stand-up is, and they'll come to a show and they're screaming and wooing, and they think that you want them to be like, woo, vodka,
Yeah.
They think because Chelsea's thing is drinking, that all of our things are drinking. They kind of don't get it. So it's not ideal to have a whole audience of them.
It's like the Chappelle trickle down butterfly effect. Where's Ross?
We have a Chappelle butterfly effect for the comedians of Chelsea Lately. And it's only but it's unlike Chappelle, it's 3 people per show.
Yeah.
And it's drunk girls who leave shots on the stage, and they're like, what? And I'm like, I don't do shots. Yeah. And B, I'm like, I'm not doing them on stage. And now I like to drink at a club, but I don't bring the drink on stage because it encourages too much. It looks like there's a party going on.
Right now, my fans are going, wow, she hasn't seen Bert work.
Yeah. Well, but if you're fans, but you're the guy.
Yeah.
So you get the respect. Chelsea's the girl. So she gets the respect because it's her thing.
Yeah.
So when you're the employee that goes on the road, they assume you're like her, and when you aren't, they get upset. No. Whereas the people that just like me, they don't care if I'm drinking or not. But anyway, my whole point about that was the people that come to shows will say to me, my whole point is they'll say, I love Chelsea. She tells it like it is. Now, I don't mean this rude to Chelsea, but if I said to them, what does she tell exactly? They would be like, oh, I don't know. But just is. She tells it like it is. I just like her outlook. She's always in their head. And that's kind of, I think, how you can get really successful. Like, so I would want that for myself. Like, oh, I want to see what Jen says about this. Well, I don't have an opinion on corn on the cob. I know, but you might if you saw it. Like, okay, well, cool. Thanks for thinking of me that way. Like,
I go to Monday morning drop off at school.
Oh yeah, you told me that once.
Yeah, and I consistently think I just wish you were there to witness it and just have your perspective to be like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
we're gonna stand for 45 minutes as kids get a.
Because when I said that, I was like, dropping kids off sounds like I'd be really good at that.
Oh.
But it takes 45 minutes?
I don't know. I only would. Yes, it takes fucking 45 minutes.
Wait, I want to tell you something because I listened to you on a podcast and I was like, I was going to once again like contact you and then just forgot. And I was like, I've got to talk to him about this if this is real. Your fear of flying, do you still have it?
Horrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you working on it?
No.
Oh, okay. So
I've listened to you on a podcast talk about it.
Yeah, I'm fully recovered to the point where.
Are you shitting me?
To the point where I love it so much that I've had. I'm on hiatus from work right now, and I haven't gone on the road since November. And I took a 2-month break from the road to work on some other things, and then I go back in January. And I was like, you know what? I had this really bad flight on Thanksgiving going to see my family. I said, I'm not going to come home for Christmas. I'm going to stay in LA. I just don't want to be on a plane anymore. I'm on a plane for work all the time. Then I work full-time in addition. I'm tired. Forget it. So then last week I saw like trails in the sky. Like
chemtrails.
No, not the chemtrails, but
Contrails?
just an airplane, like smoke coming out or whatever. And I was like, I want to be up in that sky in the freedom. I love it. So I don't know. I hope you get to where I get to, but.
How'd you get through it?
Well, I took this fear of flying class, which is a funny story, but it's not how I got recovered. It's I've told it on other shows, so people might have heard. I want to bore them, but I took a fear of flying class in Boston called Logan's Heroes, and it's like immersion into like your fear. So because I was so bad, I couldn't go to the airport. I would start like having a panic attack like in the car, and then my dad had to drive me to the classes. I was 21, and I took them the last summer before I graduated college because I was like, I want to have some kind of life. Yeah. I can't be afraid of flying. And so my dad would drive me to the class, and I would hold his arm like I had like I'm trying not to say cerebral palsy, but I'm trying like I couldn't
cerebral palsy.
Like I couldn't walk suddenly, and I was like shaking or Parkinson's, and that's less offensive. So then he takes me into the class, which is in the Delta terminal, and you sit in a conference room, and there's a parked plane in the window, like looking in, and it was a therapist that taught it, Dr. Forgione, the short, fat, bald Italian guy who was like the most calm guy in the world. He'd be smoking a cigarette because he could smoke inside then. It was like 96 or 95.
God, yeah.
Yeah, and he would open the curtains and be like, that's the airplane. Get familiar with it. All right. And he would be like, don't smoke, don't drink, don't have sugar before you get on a flight, don't have caffeine because it makes you panic.
Yeah.
And but he'd be sitting there smoking the whole time. And every class was different. We had a pilot come in and explain every single thing. Then we had someone else come in. Then week 8, we would sit on a plane, but it wouldn't take off. And nobody would put their seatbelt on and be like, put your seatbelt on. And we'd be like, the plane's going to take off if you do it. And he's like, there's no pilot here. The empty cockpit. We're like, fine. Then we did a graduation flight from Boston to LaGuardia. And everyone was recovered except me.
Really?
Just from breathing exercises and all this stuff, changing their diet.
Okay.
And I was too far gone. I already think I had like panic attack problems.
Yeah.
So that was not what they were having. I think there's a big difference between a terrifying panic attack and anxiety.
Yeah.
Like you can't always get out of a panic attack in the moment.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. And sometimes you need a little something. So I was in the plane white knuckling it, freaking out. and
everyone else is having cocktails
everyone's having the best time.
The pilot of Pan Am.
Yeah, the pilot got on. He's like, I'm so proud of you people. I do terrible microphone work, but he's like, I am so proud of you. The rows 10 through 12 are fearless flyers, and people clapped for us and shit. It's like a business flight at 8 a.m. So imagine you're going to work and all these people are behind you. And the doctor was yelling, start the relaxation exercise, like over the sound of takeoff. Really? We'd have to do these muscle relaxations. But what ended up happening is I ended up going to therapy just for being a generally anxious person.
Yeah.
And then I talked about the flying. We got into some fear of death stuff or fear of disappearing or bigger fears. So that's really what it is. You know, it's the ultimate like lack of control.
Yeah.
I'm going to disappear. So then where does that come from? Anyone in your life ever made you feel like you're going to disappear? You know, is it family, whatever? But now I'm like, I don't care. Great. I figured that all out. I need a pill. So I take Klonopin when I fly.
And that's it?
And that's it. And now, so you know what it's called? Like, you keep going to the airport and panicking. So now that's in your DNA. Now you see airport, you panic. It's like learned, like a dog.
Yeah.
Now, after 7 years of traveling, whether it's on the road, vacation, whatever, I take a little bit of Klonopin. I used to take way too much, and I'd be like throwing up and falling over. Now I take, every time I fly, when I leave the house, I take one. And now I associate, because I've done it hundreds of times, like 500 times. Now I associate airports with calm and serenity.
Really?
Because of that feeling the Klonopin is artificially giving me. But it doesn't make you could still jump up and help it thwart a terrorist. It's just, I only now take 0.5 milligram, and now I'm so good I can take it right as the plane's taking off.
Really?
Yeah, now I love airports. I'm all up in it.
See, I've been, don't you love my fucking yard guy? He's like, I had to come today. Tomorrow's fun. New Year's Eve, I got big plans.
He's got big plans in the morning?
Yeah. So, but I went to therapy, and they told me I had social anxiety disorder, which I think now I realize maybe I do have a little bit of that.
You might.
She told me, she's like, you have social anxiety disorder. You need to be medicated. I was like, really? I was like, I don't know about that. And then she said, she started getting into the fear of death is my biggest fear. I don't I actually enjoy looking at planes. I enjoy, I've had a lot of, obviously, working at Travel Channel, I've had a ridiculous amount of access to planes, to private jets, to I've flown bush planes. By just, are you fucking kidding me? He's got his kid working here? That makes me feel like a fucking horrible human being when he's like 10-year-old doing my yard.
Oh, is it 10-year-old?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like you have slave child labor.
Yes, that's illegal. I feel like Kathy Lee.
Why are they singing Negro spirituals out there? Oh, come on, Bert. What are you doing?
That is horrible. I was a stunt pilot for a day, so I've done hammerhead dives.
What?
I should be over it. I've jumped out of planes.
Wait a minute.
I've jumped off of buildings. I should be cool with it. Any therapist would be like, you're just broken. I can't fix it. Because I should be over it. But I just, it's the fear of death.
Is it when you're in the plane, does your mind start going and then you can't stop your mind?
I don't know. I'm usually so drunk in planes.
Oh, well, because I feel like drunk is like, that's what I was thinking when I listened to this podcast. Because you're like, I'll have a beer before I get there or whatever. And I'm like, but alcohol makes you more anxious. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, technically, like it dehydrates you. There's sugar. It actually is going, your nervous system is working. It's helping your nervous system be
I would take a Xanax,
activated.
but then the problem is with the Xanax is I couldn't, say, I don't know, I'm sure someone's hearing this and going, oh, you sound like an addict. I would take a Xanax, but then I'd want to, I didn't have anything to do and I felt fine. I wanted to up the feeling, so I'd drink a beer on the Xanax, and then it got to the point where I was drinking 10 beers, taking a Xanax, and my sister was like, my sister, the reason I stopped taking Xanax, this is like 2004, was my
sound like an addict.
And was my sister refused to pick me up because I would be incoherent.
Oh yeah.
I would be like, I'd get in the car and I'd be like, hey.
And you were fine on the plane. No one tried to kick you off or be like, sir, we're cutting you off.
I had one incident. Not incident of getting kicked off, but I had an incident where I don't know. I'm sure I've told this somewhere, but I was on a flight from New York to Tampa, and I was hammered on half a Xanax, and I was sitting next to a doctor, and this is like a Hunter S. Thompson moment. He's got like a medicine bag, and he's just pulling out pills, and giving me one, taking one, and we're drinking.
What? This is amazing.
And I get cut off. This is pre 9/11. So I get cut off, and he tells me, he goes, "You're speaking entirely too much." I said, "What?" And he goes, "Don't talk to them. Just tap your drink. Don't say a thing. It's already loud. You got noise reduction headsets. You're yelling at them, and he goes, just tap your drink and say you want to just look at it, make eye contact,
so
and
the
tap your
doctor
drink."
was teaching you.
So
this.
yeah. And I went, wow. So now when I'm on a plane, I don't speak at all.
I love this guy. I feel like you would get off the plane and they'd be like, "Sir, there was no one in 13A." Like he's some angel that like is just like teaching you how to be a man. Like, here's my medicine bag, tap your drink. Like that's so manly and like grown up and sophisticated.
And then a baby got sick and they were like, "Is there a doctor on the plane?" And I raised my hand. And he's like, "Shut the fuck up, man. We're hammered." And I was like, "He's a doctor."
Oh my God, this is the greatest story.
And then we had to do an emergency landing in Orlando. And he came back. He goes, "That baby's sick." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, I think she might die. We need to get her to the hospital now." And so he sits down next to me, and the pilot, I swear to God, the pilot goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're making an emergency landing. We have a sick child on board. We need to meet an ambulance on the tarmac. You will feel, it's going to feel like we're going to crash. We are not. It's going to feel," he goes, "I need you to brace yourself because it's going to feel when we stop that we hit something we have not. These planes are super strong. We can do whatever we want in them, but you're going to feel the power of this plane." And we dove into Orlando, and we stopped on a dime, and I thought the plane was going to explode. The engines were that loud, and within 2 minutes, medics were on the plane. They take the baby off, and then we just taxied back out and took off to Tampa.
Where did you land, in a field or something?
No, at Orlando Airport.
Oh, okay, but just not on a designated runway.
Right, and just bam, and they were there. They took her off, and when we took off, I guess
I'm confused why, if you're already at the airport and it's emergency landing, why you can't kind of coast in. Like, I guess the time is of the essence.
I think they were above Orlando. They couldn't make it to Tampa, and they just dove down.
Oh, okay. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was intense, but I was so hammered I didn't mind. I have to fly to fucking Switzerland in 2 days.
I know, you're going to 33 hours to South Africa. Like that, I couldn't. My thing is, I flew to Australia.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and
you guys did shows in Australia.
Yeah, Chelsea lately went to Australia. I guess it's popular there. And my boss came to me and said, "Yeah, if you don't want to go, we won't make fun of you." Like because I always said, all right, I went to London. That was okay. Yeah, I made it. I took enough Klonopin to fall asleep. But I was like, Australia, I can't.
Did you have a glass of wine with Klonopin?
Internationally, I do. Yeah, that's my exception. Locally, I don't, because I don't get that scared at all. Yeah. And also, I don't like drinking on planes. Makes me feel nauseous. I don't know why. I'm getting like, as I get older, like I'm so intolerant of anything. So, but then I'm like, okay, Australia, that's like the ocean a lot of the time. And there is no place to emergency land.
That is exactly what I think. That is a lot of fucking ocean.
Yeah. And I asked the stewardess, I was like, look, I mean, luckily they flew us first class. So it was very comfortable. But I was
Qantas?
No, it was Virgin.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm very nervous. And she's like, listen, it's 6 hours to Hawaii. So we're in Hawaii. That's safe. We're right over Hawaii if anything happens. She's like, if anything was going to happen, it would happen in the first 6 hours. I'm like, oh, I don't know why. I don't even think she was telling the truth. She's like, you're going to be asleep by then, and then you'll sleep 8 hours, and then you'll wake up and we're there. Yeah. And I'm like, what if I don't? What if I don't? But I did. I totally woke up. We were there. And then I was like, oh, I'm fine. But I don't like being in another country and then going, oh my God, I'm not around anything. What if I need medical attention? The only way to get out of this country is another 14-hour flight. Oh, I'm just stuck. Well, I just want to go home. I want to move back in with my parents. Forget show business. I don't care. I'm just going to work at a cashier's checking place. Like, I go crazy.
I start seeing this, by the way. I'm not, and I don't think either of us are shitting on our life experiences or our jobs. We have great jobs. Oh, no. However, I look at dudes, I'll go through that same thing, and I'll look at dudes building fences, and I will dream about being a fence builder. And going, that must be nice. You wake up, all you got to do is make sure you build your fence. You go home, you have a beer, you sit with your kids. You wake up the next morning, you go, I'm just building fences.
No one's like, if you don't go to South Africa, that's going to be bad for your career. You need to get everywhere and get on the net and get on the net. But yeah, that kind of thing where it's like, you can't say no to opportunities. Yeah. Because then they'll stop coming. So
I've never said no to anything.
It's like, suck it up. Get on the fucking... Yeah, I know. That night at the Improv. No, but yeah. So wait, now, are you okay? But now I have to fly alone to Australia in March. And I'm like, okay.
What are you doing in Australia? Stand up?
The Melbourne Comedy Festival.
Oh, you're going to kill down there.
So I'm like, well, now I've the new frontier, flying alone for that long. But it's not that long a flight, actually.
It's not that bad. What airline?
I think it's going to be Qantas.
Qantas is
but
pretty
it's not
fucking
going to be
gangster.
like business class. It's going to be like the third best. Where you're like sort of laying down, but you're mostly just.
Yeah, that's not that bad though. My sound guy flew that, and he's like 6'4", and he said he was fairly comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, Qantas was amazing. Though when I went, we flew on the A380. That's the double decker.
Oh yeah, this one's double decker. I think.
Monster. I'm flying I always fly the double deckers and fly on the top. Silent. But the A380, the guy, we did an interview on the plane first, and we toured the plane and saw the cabins and saw like the sleeping quarters. It was really fascinating.
This was for your job, right?
For Travel Channel.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I was like, do you just get a private tour whenever you fly?
No.
Excuse me, I need to see the plane before I commit to booking a ticket.
Are you airline loyal?
No, I am with Virgin America because
it goes to Boston.
Because it goes to Boston, it goes to New York, and I go there. I go to New York like 4 times a year just for no reason. So that way, like most of my flights end up being free. I can bump to first class easily. But I mean, American is maybe, but I have no like points or I'm like, I fly anything.
I'll tell you later, but I'm the gangster level on American.
Oh,
the one
nice.
where your name's painted on the side of a plane. Like
that's fucking awesome.
Like yeah.
I wish I could be like that. I think if I did the road for a living, I would be. But with my job, like I have to sometimes catch a red eye and fly all weird hours to like not miss a day of work, and it just depends on what airline is flying. You know, I can't be loyal.
I saw when I said to myself, I'm gonna do what Jen did, because when you wrote your book, you were like, I'm gonna go to New York and I'm just gonna lock down.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna write. And
how'd you know I did that?
Twitter. Or
okay.
I'm guessing, or maybe I heard you talk about it on a...
Oh, yeah, I must have talked about it somewhere.
I think you wrote a blog about it. Is that possible?
Maybe. I probably tweeted about it.
Did you write a blog about a bartender hitting on you?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Which I deleted because everyone go, get over yourself. I'm like, no, I'm talking about how annoying it is. And I meant it universally. Like, because I know people get bothered with small talk, whether they're being hit on or it's just a drunk guy. I was just this guy. I just kept going there every day. And I think he kept thinking it was for him. And it would have been if it was some like romantic comedy and he was like my type. I'm not saying he even was unattractive. It just wasn't a thing. And then he kept being like, we kind of know what's going on here. And I was like, can I just fucking write? Like, just let me write, for Christ's sake. Like
people get my old roommate Lorenzo used to get annoyed when he'd see people with a computer at Starbucks, and I go, hey, for the record, that's a really great place to write. Like I always take my joke book and sit at Starbucks and sit at the table and write. Start my coffee. I have my coffee. I feel my peak, and then when I get too tired, I'm like, all right, time to go home.
Yeah,
I love writing outside, but I saw you do that, and I went, oop! I just got a book deal, I think. And
Nice.
I was like,
did it come out yet?
No. It comes out May 27th.
Oh my God. What a wonderful thing that is. It's going to be such a great feeling when it comes out.
Yeah. It's been, I really thought, writing a book would be a lot easier.
Me too.
It was
it's
not
very hard.
It was not what I like. I just thought it would, I don't know what made me think it, but like, I think everyone, I'd known a bunch of people that got book deals, and I'd known a bunch of people that wrote books, and I felt like I had a lot of really good stories to tell.
Yes.
And so I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And and in my head, I was like, if these guys that I know have written books, and except for Jim Norton actually wrote his book. No one else wrote their fucking book. They got ghostwriters.
Oh, really?
I sat in the room and I was like, and they're like, what makes you think you can write a book? And I was like, well, this person did. And they're like, he had a ghostwriter. I was like, no, they didn't.
Wow.
And they were like, we published his book. He had a ghostwriter. I was like, what? And they're like, he had a ghostwriter. He had a ghostwriter. He had a ghostwriter. And I was like, and they're like, we'll let you do it with a ghostwriter, but we're not going to let you write a book. And I was like, and then it became this like defiant, like my dad was like, buddy, write a book.
Yeah, good for you.
And so I was like, I'm going to write a book. And so I found a publishing house that was like, but I guarantee you, Yaniv is listening to this right now. He's my editor, publisher. He works at St. Martin's because he's a big fan of yours. I guarantee
that's awesome.
I guarantee you, he's like, Bert, get her to write a blurb for your book. That's the way Yaniv works. I had Moshe over
I'll
here.
totally write a blurb for your book. But it can only help my book because then I get to put author of blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
bang. Over the title of your book.
Done. I'll give you the front page.
But it sounds like such a quality problem, but it's just hard to do, especially if you're a talker for a living like we are.
Did you read that Marin wrote a blurb for me? Is that not fucking amazing?
Bert Kreischer is one of the great American wild men. His stories track the trials and tribulations of a big-hearted dude trying to fit in, help out, party, and find himself. After all is said and done, we arrive with him at the true humility of joy. Wow. You're like,
fucking
shit, I wish I wrote a paragraph like that in my book.
Maron's such a different dude because he wanted to read my book. I was like, no, Maron, you don't need to read it. Just write a blurb. He was like, well, I can't write a blurb if I haven't read it. And I go, hey, we got it. He wants to read it. And then he read it, and he was like, it was great. Mick Foley, the wrestler, was like, yeah, send me a copy. I'll read it. I was like, I'm such the kind of student that was like if after this, if someone wants me to write a blurb, I'll be like, yeah. I'll just write a blurb. I'm not going to read the fucking book.
Yeah.
But those guys read it. I
want to read your book.
I will get you a copy. I will get you a copy.
Read other people's
right
books.
now, Yaniv is jumping up and down in their Flatiron.
Well, I'm not saying
office.
I'm blurb. I don't want to bust my way, but I want to just read it anyway.
Yeah, I'll give you a copy.
But it's one of those things that people don't get. I don't mean people don't get, but it sounds like, shut up, you big babies. But it's one of those things where if you're a talker for a living, you think, I'm good at this.
Right.
You put me on stage, I'll talk for 3 hours and tell you stories that I'll make them funny by the way I do it. But then you put on paper and you're like, that doesn't look as good as I thought. It's almost like bringing someone home and you're sober and you're like, you look different at the bar. Like, this looks different on paper. This is terrible. This isn't good. And then you're just like, well, I wrote 1,000 words today, but they're all shitty. So like you get shit done and you feel worse about yourself and then you don't know if it's good.
It's so true.
You're like crying right now.
I started writing my book in Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii and I'm like, I'm going to fucking write this book. Fitzsimmons talks about this Dragon Dictate. I'm going to do it.
I don't know what Dragon Dictate is.
It was this brilliant idea. It just doesn't work for me because I drink. So it's you speaking. It's just like your voice texting.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So you speak your book. And I was like, I'll just speak it and it comes out.
I keep thinking I'm going to do that. Yeah.
And I tried my first night. I was like, here we go. This is the time I fought a bear. And I tell the story in the thing and I'm drinking. I wake up the next morning. I swear to you, all my children, a tooth is gone. A tooth is gone. And I can't read any of the words. It looks like it's written in Flintstones. And I'm like, yabba dabba, what? And I'm like, that's it. I was like, I can't write a book. And a tooth was missing. I had no recollection of how I lost a tooth. And I was like, this is a nightmare.
I can't wait for your next book about your sobriety.
It's coming around the corner. There's I can feel the light flickering in the back.
It's so great. But yeah, I'm excited. And you're gonna have so much fun in your book. It's just such a nice. People are very nice about books. That's what I've realized.
Really?
Yeah, I found my experience to be very nice. People like it. No one is sitting there with this isn't Shakespeare or Russian literature. Like they just want to have a laugh. And if they already know you, they're psyched to read it. It feels very personal. I've got nothing but appreciation from people on it. Couple, bloggers here and there. I don't like this. It's not well written. I can't even speak. Well written. I'm like, it might not be.
Yeah.
But that's,
That's what they said about Hemingway when he first came out.
Oh, really? Oh, I should tell them that.
I hung my hat on the fact that I would be like, I read The Sun Also Rises when I was in college, and I was like, this guy speaks to me.
Yeah.
He's not trying to be smart. He's telling you what happened, and in telling you what happened, he's smart.
Right, because then you're enthralled. You know what he said? I have Chelsea has this sign in her office. I really like it. It's a Hemingway quote: "Write drunk, edit sober."
That's a great quote.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I'm not like a nerd, like trying to be like a nun here, but I'm not a big drinker only because I try to watch my weight and I get so hungover really easily and then my whole day is blown. So for me, like 4 drinks is like a wild party.
That's crazy. I always pictured you as like a drinker.
I think because I used to be the person that went out drinking after shows. But I was a lot younger and didn't have to worry about metabolism and I didn't get hangovers. And then once I hit 35, now I'm 39, it just doesn't work as well for me. And so I don't do it. And also just dumb lady shit. Like just as you get older, like higher chance of breast cancer, like fucks with my hormones. Like it's all kinds of shit that just sucks being a lady. Just like, it blows. So that kind of stuff I just try to think about. But I love wine. So like I sit down when the sun goes down because I'm writing another book like a psychopath.
Really?
I cannot believe I did it again. Well, the first book is about how I don't want to have kids and the way people react to it.
By the way, and I knew what your first book was about because obviously I think I read your blog about writing it. That is, and I say this consistently, that is the I'm gonna say bravest, but like it's brave only in the fact that you do get judged by other people going, well, then what's wrong with you if you don't want to procreate?
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Even Joe Rogan tweeted something a few weeks ago that was like, women who don't want to procreate, like, or like terrify him, like they're like they're mean monsters or something. And I was like, it really does like scare people that I don't have that instinct. But the book is more like, because there's no book, I don't want to have kids. Like it's one sentence. Okay, great. Who gives a fuck? So it's really about like, and it's not like a call to hey, rise up, everyone, don't have kids. It's more just like, I never thought this was a thing. I thought it was as normal as not. And some people did and some people didn't. But all through my life, no matter what, people said like these 10 things to me. So it's like 10 chapters kind of taking apart the cliches. And it's like a silent way to have a memoir. Like I get in stories about dating and my family and all that stuff. But it's really just like, so the next book is about how I'm divorced, and it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me because I didn't know myself when I got married. I'm not saying people in good marriages should get out of them, but it's that kind of thing. And then just stuff that like makes people feel bad because they don't feel like an adult. They don't own a home, or they don't have anywhere to go on New Year's Eve, or they don't this. Like, so it's all just about like, I think I'm going to call it like, nobody uses fine china and other things I learned about what being an adult really means, or like, or you'll need fine china and other lies I thought about being an adult, something like that. Like just weird, because I have this china cabinet. It's the only thing left from my marriage, and I moved into a new place. Everything's new except that. And I just, because I think it's beautiful, I like it, but I never use the china. And it's like, that was something that was such a sticking point in our marriage where it was like, why did we ask for this for a gift? Like my husband was, I'm like, because you have to have that stuff. Like I turned into that woman. And now I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
How old were you and got married?
35, and we've been together for 5 years. But my editor was like, don't make the whole thing about divorce. Yeah. Which I kind of think like, I think everyone would want to read that because 50% of people.
Well, yeah, you've got half of the population right there.
She wants it more like the unconventional life of someone who's about to turn 40, who doesn't give a fuck that they is living their life, that kind of thing. So I think it's just supposed to be for everyone out there who feels like they're not doing it right.
Well, there's a lot of things that defined my ego, and like I said when we were talking about ego earlier, it's not like ego like. But it's like the little thing, the little boy inside of you. It's the same face that when you do cocaine sees your face in the mirror.
I've never done cocaine. I'm such a nerd.
Me either. Then.
Oh, you read about it.
I've read about it, and apparently, when you look in the mirror to do a line of cocaine, you see yourself, but you really see your ego. You see
God,
this.
I don't want to see that.
You see this guy that's like. I mean, I just remember having that moment. I was in New Orleans. I was at my buddy Cayman's house, and I had never done it, and he was like, and they had a big rock, and they were shaving it off. He was like, listen, he was like, I'm just giving you, like, I've known him since I was a kid. Yeah. He's like, a lot of people get addicted to this stuff. It's not like the best stuff, but we couldn't, I don't know why I'm telling this story, but we couldn't find ecstasy, and I wanted to party. It was Mardi Gras, and me and my buddy Ozzy, and I remember being like this brave guy, like, fuck, I'll do it. I don't give a shit. Can't, like, it's the stereotype. I've smoked pot, I've done ecstasy, I did acid, I did mushrooms. So one thing I hadn't done, I think I'd eaten pharmaceutical. No, I had not at that time. So but I look in the mirror and I saw like Bert. I saw like the little boy who wanted to be good at baseball and listened to Kiss and danced in his mom's fucking boots. I saw that boy and I went, holy shit, it's a real moment. I don't know how we got on this, but we're talking about ego.
Oh, being an adult and not doing normal things.
Not owning a home.
Oh yeah.
Was like, it was like a thing for me. Yeah. And we had 2 kids, and my wife was working, and I was doing the road, and nothing was happening, and I just felt like I'm a failure. But the thing was, I wasn't a failure. Yeah. But it's that superficial thing that society puts on you where you're like, hey, you don't own a home, you don't have china, you've been divorced, like all these things where you're like, and I'm a lot fucking happier. And I see people, my wife had a bunch of friends that had kids that only had kids because that is what they were supposed to do at that age. With they had uteruses, why weren't they using them? Right. And so and I would say a solid half should have never had fucking kids. Oh, yeah. Never. I can tell you one person distinctly that only had kids because everyone else was getting pregnant and they didn't want to go to the party and not get pregnant. And that person does not belong with the child. Yeah. And would be so much happier. You can see it sometimes if someone just doesn't have the instinct. My friend said to me when she changed her mind, decided to get pregnant, she's like, I think you'll change your mind like I did. She was 40 and I was 36. And she's like, I think you're going to change your mind like I did. Is this Chelsea?
No, yeah. She loves to have babies. And my friend goes, you have to, I want you to get to where I am, but I don't want you to wait till you're 40 because it's really hard to get pregnant. So if I could just get you to have a baby now, we could raise our kids together, and that would be ideal. And I'm like, no. And she's like, but you're going to change your mind. I'm like, I'm not. Like, I just feel it. Like,
it sounds like tattoos at spring break.
Yeah. Let's do it together. But I also feel like that's what women do to each other. And sometimes it's lovely, it's bonding, it's tribal. But I'm the, and I've even had male comics, like, and you know, I remember, and I love the Sklar brothers, but they were saying stuff to me about, you know, that they feel bad for me if I regret it, and that, you know, there's no joy of coming home and having the kid run to you. And I said, but for the female comic who is the mother, so I have a different like hormonal connection with the kid, which I think is probably a little more intense, at least at the beginning. And I'm, you know, on the road, and the kid is coming. Like, I don't want that.
No, it's not. Look, I'm gonna try to say this without sounding like, I'm sure there's someone that's going, well, Bert, you're just agreeing with her. You have kids. Tell her the joys. I will say that.
Oh, of course.
I love my kids to death. However, there is a vulnerability that I'm opened up to that I'm not comfortable with.
Oh, interesting.
And I never knew, like, I tried to write a joke about it, but like, I used to be like a regular dude. Like,
yeah.
I could do stuff that like my buddies are all coming in for the BCS championship with Florida State and Auburn.
I don't even know what that is. Football?
Big football game.
Oh, okay, I guessed right.
It's the championship for college.
Okay.
My college is playing Auburn, and they're all coming in. My buddy Eddie and my buddy Hatterman are like, we're coming in. $350 a ticket, $65 a party bus. We're gonna try to go to the Playboy Mansion, and it's gonna be fucking insane. Now I know
I'm putting a pin in. We're gonna try to go to the Playboy Mansion. I want to get back to that. Go on.
These two morons will pay $1,200 to go to the Playboy Mansion.
I don't think we're gonna try to get in. They're just like, here comes the party bus. Like, like,
neither of
them. Can you just roll up and try to get in? Just like, it's a quiet night. It's movie night with Hef and his 2 girlfriends, and you're just like, we have $2,000. Let us in. He's like, we just made 3 hot dogs. There's nothing. I want in. Like, what do you mean trying to get in?
They're thankfully they don't know what a podcast is, so they'll never listen to this.
Yeah,
Eddie and Hatterman, but Eddie and Hatterman will pay like $1,200 to get a ticket to the Playboy Mansion.
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that.
They'll have like a party, and usually it's like they'll schedule their trips out for when that party is, and then they'll hook up with some girl that wants to be a playmate. Hopefully they are listening to this and they know just exactly how sad. I can tell them how sad that is, and they go, "Yeah, you're not fucking tons. You're fucking a 7 in Valley Village."
Right,
like that's the way my friends are. But they're emotionally vacant. They really are emotionally vacant. Yeah. But I look at that joy. Like, they picked me up. I was in Atlanta. They live in Atlanta. If you ever go to Atlanta, I'll have Hatterman one night. I don't know if you're single or not. Have him take you out for drinks and show you around. He owns a lot of bars. One of the funnest guys. You will literally say, this guy is the greatest guy. He's good, really good looking.
Why can't I go? I'm single in the sense that in the box, well, actually, I say there's single, divorced, married. So I'm divorced legally. Yeah. Single in the sense that I don't want a normal relationship. Right. Like, I just sort of have situations here and there. And that's what I'm doing for now. I'll hang out with this guy, but I probably wouldn't hook up with him.
Yeah, you'd fall like
it's like get raped.
He's safe. He's safe.
Oh, okay.
But Hatterman is like, he picked me up in Atlanta, and he's got a Range Rover, and I'm like, and I know how much that costs.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
where does he have this money from?
Yeah, well, he owns
the bars.
He owns this bar called Tin Lizzie's. It's like the big bar in Atlanta. There are like 7 of them, and he owns all of them.
I was just in Atlanta last year. I had no one to hang with.
Oh, he's a lot of fun. He is a lot of fun, but he's, and my point is, they all come out to LA, and I was like, I will be the regular guy I am with them, but there is a change in my personality.
Yeah. Now
I'm the kind of guy that like the other day I'm sitting in a hotel room and I'm watching The Time Traveler's Wife, and I start sobbing uncontrollably.
Yeah.
Because I think that's me. I don't see my kids, like that emotional vulnerability it opens you up to, I'm not really entirely comfortable with.
I feel like I'm like that anyway. And now maybe it's a 20 million times more level, but I have this to the point where it's too much. I'm trying to tamp it down a little because I'm so fucking sensitive. And so, like, see a person eating in a restaurant alone, I'm bursting into tears. Or the way I feel when my dad got really sick this year and hit his head and was getting surgery. And I just sat by his side 8 hours a day reading, like he didn't know who I was or anything. And I was just sitting there like my guts were busting open and this nurse wouldn't help him. And I just went over to her and I was like, that's my fucking, got in her face. And I was like, it's fucking health care, not health, ignore my father. So why don't you fucking realize this is a fucking human?
This is definitely the wrong person to tangle with.
Oh, I was back in Boston, you know, like, so I was telling my girlfriend this and she goes, don't get excited, not gay girlfriend, just friend that's a girl. And she goes, oh, see, that maternal side, you'd be such a good mom. I go, no, that'd be a terrible mom, but I'm good with the world. Yeah. Like, I'm good with the world. I love, like, whatever. I'm in love with everything, and I'm very sensitive. But I know what you mean. A lot of guys are like that. They're like, because I think a lot of guys do go from, like, vacant partying to fatherhood. I think sometimes women are more, like, in the middle.
A lot of women, I think, rest at a 7.
Yeah.
And then motherhood's 10. I think dudes, I showed up.
Yeah, you're right. Rest at 7, motherhood's 10. Yeah.
I was at a 1, and then all of a sudden I'm in this. I'm just a different dude.
Yeah.
And then it starts growing on you, and you become that different guy, and it just shows up. And there's a lot of times where I go, you know, like Georgia got like, Leanne will be pissed, but Georgia had her first panic attack.
Your daughter?
My daughter.
How old is she?
9.
Oh, no.
It's because
she learned it from you.
No.
Oh.
Well, yeah, yes. But I have an allergy to certain foods, and certain foods will cause anxiety attacks in me.
Oh, interesting.
And Georgia had that same food, and I avoided it, thinking I don't want a panic attack tonight. But Georgia had it, and so
But you didn't know she was allergic to it yet, right?
I didn't know she was.
Okay.
And she had it, and I went in, and I was like, fuck, I gave it to her. Like, I gave, she got that from me. The like, when you drop your kids off for school the first time and they don't know anyone and they're going to make friends, all those bullshit things you had as a kid just rear back up, and you become this, I mean, it ruins your day. Georgia was playing with,
I didn't even think of that.
I was in Richmond, Virginia, and I got a call from Leanne. Georgia had just gotten into a new school, and I said, how's she doing? We thought she was doing great. She goes, Bert, she's playing with the special needs kid.
Oh, no.
And I got really upset. I'm like, she's a good looking kid. She's really confident. She's really cool. She was brand new to this school and she entered in 2nd grade, but she had befriended the special needs kids. And so obviously, clearly,
which is so beautiful. You're like, I'm so glad she's that person.
I wasn't there.
Oh, well, no, you get there.
I'm thinking of Georgia, and I'm going on stage, and when I do stand up, it's a very open book. I will go up and talk about whatever's going on in my life at that moment. Yeah. Not a lot of jokes. I haven't written a joke in a very long time.
Guys, I hope everyone tip your waitress. My daughter's playing with a special needs kid. Just found out. Not worked it out yet. Don't cry. Man, please stay here.
It was beautiful because this woman said exactly what you said. You should be proud of your daughter, because think of the special needs kids' parents.
Yeah.
They've got their daughter's playing with one of the cool kids at school, from what you're saying. And now she's going to be accepted because your daughter will find the path, and that's your daughter's friend. And then think of how great that is. And I didn't see it that way because I was just this.
No, but my first instinct too was like, fuck, she's going to be an outcast.
Yes.
Because no one's telling her, no, honey, not that you shouldn't play with them.
Oh, God, that's so fucking accurate.
But it's like, I'm not saying don't play with them. Be very nice to them. But you're now going to be scarlet lettered, if that's the expression.
Yes.
And now you're going to get made fun of. And it's a cruel fucking world. And good. It's so great that you're, but the world isn't as good as you. And God damn it, can there be a middle ground? Can you have some friends and then you're nice to the special needs kids? But you can't just be the only, you can't, because there's something the special needs kids relate on with each other that she doesn't have.
Right. But exactly what you're saying. It's like, I'll use Chelsea as an example only because I think people see her perspective. I'll use you as an example. I don't know what happened to you as a kid.
Right.
But I am guaranteed that there were probably, I'm going to say, a handful of really decisive moments where you interacted with someone and your feelings were hurt, they were broken, and you didn't go to anyone and you nursed them yourself, and that changed your perspective about life, allowing you to have a voice on stage that is absolutely enjoyable. I would never, because I don't care about you as a little kid. I didn't know you.
Yeah.
I would never want to change those for you because I like what I got now. Like that, getting to hear you talk about things, I like that. So whatever that is, I almost applaud that because I'm glad that happened because it created who you are.
Yeah.
Same to me, same to any
But
comic.
you don't have that perspective when you're in it with your kids. Yeah.
And I don't want her to go through it.
Yeah.
I'd rather her just work in a fucking mailroom.
Because you listen, you can get that perspective other places. Like I had, a couple moments where I was a real outcast. By the time I was a teenager, I was fine because then it was cool to be one and you found your other outcast friends.
I'm thinking the Smiths.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 14 years old, it's like the Smiths. Then you got like...
Susie and the Banshees.
Exactly. Then you got like... there was culture was like on my side too. You have movies like Heathers and you have Nirvana and all that. That was like my teenage years.
That's a very cool sentence. Culture was on my side.
Don't you think?
I was a boy, so I did connect with Heathers, but it made me feel like I might be gay.
Yeah, that's true.
Like at one point I had to take down, like I had pictures of Duran Duran on my wall. And I was like, I think I'm going to have to take this shit down.
That's just time anyway. Like, it's just too late in life. Yeah. But it's one of those things where there's few moments where there was a really mean kid who was like a terrorist. And he was really mean to me. And the way he treated me made me go, well, I never want to treat anyone like this. And there were these two weird girls that used to bark and bite people and had weird scabs all over their arms that we could not figure out why.
Yeah.
Looked like they constantly had chicken pox. These two weird girls. I didn't want anything to do with them. I don't want to hang out with them. Not just because of social pressures, but I have nothing in common with them. But I will never treat them the way this kid treated me. So I was always like the friend to the weirdos, like St. Francis of Assisi and their animals. I'm just friends with them. Enough so, like, okay, once a week maybe I'll go to your house, but let's not get too close. But I worked those relationships to be a good person, but I really didn't want to do it. And sometimes they would be like, why aren't you there for us in these moments? And I'm like, like I sold one of them out. I did something wrong and I told them that Emily did it because I knew they'd believe it because she's weird. So I was always like really empathetic to the truly weird kids because of what I'd gone through, but I didn't really want to hang out with them either. So it's that kind of thing where it's like, I'm glad my parents didn't say do this, do that. Like this was all going on in my own head. So it's good. Your daughter will do something. But yeah, you don't want her like ostracize. People probably think we're awful saying hanging out with this person.
No. Ours was very. Boys, it was very physical. You just get beat up.
Oh, see, I had that too. I think I might be somewhere inside more of a man. Like the boys were mean to me, not the girls. I didn't have the snobby girls mean. They kind of excluded me and they'd be like, you're weird. But we all took ballet together after school. So that kind of neutralized us because I was good at it and they weren't. And I kept their secret that they sucked. You know what I mean?
Were you an attractive kid?
Not really.
When did you get like hot?
Last year. I'm not joking. I'll show you pictures. I probably was, but I made myself unattractive. But I swear to God, I didn't, because I had a really awkward kid and my eyes were too far apart. I just was buck teeth. I just had a weird face. I was underweight to the point where like they thought I had leukemia. I would get tested for I was like scrawny. Like it was so unattractive. And the boys were really mean to me. There was something about me that ignited the boys. They were very mean to me. And I would end up fighting them. I would just get in fist fights.
It was always I had run-ins with girls a lot. Mm-hmm. I had a really hard time understanding the fairness in equality. I had a really hard time saying hey, I'm a boy, I'm not allowed to cry.
Right.
Hey, I'm a boy, I'm not allowed to hit the girls, but they could hit me, and then they could cry, and then I had to, I was like, wait, we're this, because our generation is the first generation where we were raised, and you could get good grades just like me, and you could go to law school just like me.
Yeah.
Like before that, it was like, well, yeah, good luck getting good grades. You're going to make a great nurse.
Right, yeah.
And so I was raised with my sisters, and so I was always taught equality. And then you'd go into the thing, and I remember Sam Dubin used to fuck me up. Like we would get in fights, and she'd scratch me, and I'd go. I remember I hit her one time, and they were like, "You can't hit a girl." I was like, "Wait, we're equal. Why can't we hit each other? We both weigh 65 pounds. Like there's not a big difference here." And so I always had a hard time figuring that out, and then by the time I kind of wrapped my head around it, I realized I was straight, and I was like, holy shit, like that moment where you go, oh shit, I'm into girls. Jennifer Stevens I'm a big foot person.
That's so
Jennifer
funny.
Stevens, and I told this on I don't know where, but I should have never told it. It got out. Used to play with her foot. I grew up in Florida, so tan feet.
Oh yeah.
Were you had to have tan feet. Everyone wore sandals, and she would play with her shoe in Mr. Yarnell's class, and she sat one seat in front of me, and I sat on the side row, and I watched it, and I remember at that moment I was like, two things. Number one, I like girls a lot, and this could fuck up my life. And number 2, I really like feet.
Why would it fuck up your life to like girls?
Because, well, man, once you realize...
Oh, because you don't... It's so intense. You're
I was
like,
just
am I going to be able to hold down a job? Like, yeah.
I was like...
Did she have a toe ring?
No. Toe rings didn't show up in Florida until like 90... Probably 89, 88.
Oh, I just saw this thing online that I thought of. Jane Fonda was giving some speech somewhere about something. And she was like, we have to stop not being there for our boys. Like you said, like it's such a big deal. Women can cry. They can do whatever. They can experience all emotions and guys aren't supposed to. And then women feel bad because it's like, oh, you're just emotional. Like that's bad. Yeah. Like, oh, you couldn't run the country. You're emotional. It's like, yeah, everyone's fucking emotional. We're all humans. We're all crazy. And then guys have nowhere to put it. So they have to stuff it down. Then you shoot up a fucking school. Like, so it's that kind of thing where it's like somewhere we got to teach young boys, like, it's okay. You're not like a queer fag or girl. You know, like everyone has emotions. It has to be like taken off the genders. I don't know how it got that way. Because everyone, you look at like, when I was always laughing, people say like, woman couldn't be president. You look at John Boehner, who's like crying. And then it's like awesome. Like, I'm glad, sure, cry if you want, but like everyone's crazy and emotional, especially in heated situations like politics or growing up. Like, it bums me out that like boys were probably walking around so like, I can't express anything. Like, that's heartbreaking.
Our dog, we have a bull mastiff, big, like 130 pounds.
I'm so scared. Don't let me see.
And she's gorgeous. She's the sweetest dog. She's had a lot of medical problems. Blew out her one knee. Blew out her ACL, blew out her other knee. So much work. So much money.
Oh, I can't do it.
I can't even. You could guess how much we pay for this dog, and I could double it. That's how much we pay.
I don't want a pet for these reasons. I love this.
Yes, that's what my dad said. This is why you don't get a goddamn dog, because they fucking just die. And I was like, well, the same could be said for kids. Like, that's true. I mean, the argument could be passed around. But so we get a call from the doctor. We go in there. Her other lady's knee's messed up. And the doctor says, listen, I'm going to go in and look at it. But if it's that bad, I think we should put her down. And I fall apart. But I can't because Georgia's here. And I can't let Georgia see me cry. Cause
you can't, so it's not good for her to see that.
We go through the day. And finally they realize, they go, we can fix her. It's going to be a lot of money. And I go, money's not a problem. Yeah. Just do it. So I go into the front yard and I cry by myself in the front yard. And Leanne comes out. She sees me crying. And by the way, it's one of my favorite, such a great, like little movie moment is I'm crying and I'm trying to tell her why I'm crying. And I'm trying to tell her that I didn't say goodbye to Priscilla. And had she been put down, I would have never got to say goodbye to her. Oh, yeah. But when I laugh, I squeal. And when I cry, I squeal. And I'm crying and I'm going, and Leanne's looking at me and she's trying to be like there for me. And then she stops. She goes, honey, I don't know what you're saying. And I started laughing. But I came inside and the girls had seen that I was crying and they were like, what's going on? And I was like, nothing. Everything's fine. Priscilla's going to be fine. And we told them we might have to put her down, but it's not going to happen. And they cried. And then they looked at me and go, Daddy, are you going to cry? And I was like, no. And they're like, you can cry. And I was like, no, I can't, because I'm broken, because when I was a little boy and I wanted to cry, somehow that muscle,
it doesn't work.
Crying Kegel muscle or whatever, just tightens up and I can't cry in front of people. I can cry by myself. Even when I cry by myself, I think I'm acting like a fool.
Oh, no, that's silly. You should be able to cry by yourself. Well, it is. I don't know the rules on when you should let your kids see you cry, because I will say this defining moment in my life. It's really sad.
Seeing your dad cry?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to hear this.
Okay. I might cry telling it. I probably won't. So my dad has 5 brothers and a sister. They all the brothers. Irish? No, actually Polish and English. I have no Irish in me.
Are you Jewish? Mm-mm. I always thought you were Jewish for some reason. And then you said go home for Christmas. And I went, oh. Okay.
No, Catholic mom. And
okay.
My mom's heritage is like French, Canadian, and German. Definitely not Jewish. And my dad is like English and Polish. But Kirkman sounds Jewish, but the Kirk part is the English part. Anyway, so 1986, I'm 11 years old. My sisters are older, so I'm kind of an only child. They don't live at home. My dad has 5 brothers and a sister. They all live in like northern Massachusetts, like Lowell, Massachusetts. My parents lived somewhere else. So about a 45-minute drive from where his parents lived. Okay, so my grandfather, big fat guy, big cook, whatever, goes to the doctor. He's like, I have a stomach ache. They're like, oh my God, you have stomach cancer. It's everywhere. Your whole body is just cancer. You have like 6 weeks to live. Okay, so great. So then he starts going downhill really fast. And he's like collapsed, and it's time. He's in the hospital. It's morphine drip. I don't even know if they did that. I mean, usually you get a week or something with that kind of, it's time to just let him die nicely in the hospital. It was like 12 hours to go, so that kind of thing. My dad got the news. He raced to the hospital. Every one of his siblings and his mom was there when his dad passed away. And my dad missed it by like 10 minutes. And he walked in and they were just like, he's gone. Like he wasn't even in the bed anymore. And he was just like, I guess he was devastated. So he comes home, he drives home. He's home within like an hour. And I'm sitting at the dining room table doing homework. And I look out the window and my dad, I've never seen him physically vulnerable either. He's a greenskeeper, always active on trucks, He trips up the steps in grief and just falls on his face. My mom comes outside, picks him up under the arms. He's just slumped over. And he goes, I didn't say bye to my daddy. And I was like, oh my
That almost made me cry.
God. Like, I didn't say bye to my daddy. And then he just looked at me in the eyes and goes, my daddy's dead. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I was free. Bert is crying.
That is, you're getting really close to getting me to cry.
Okay,
right?
So that was it. But I was like, it was too young. It was too young. And he didn't do anything wrong. But I was having like anxiety attacks at the funeral. I was like, everybody's going to die. Parents get sad. No one can protect me. Oh my God. And then you go to these dumb Catholic speaking of Catholic funerals where they have already dug the grave and they lower the coffin in front of everyone. I don't want to think about that.
Yeah, I don't need to see that. Let's just leave her at the whatchamacallit and just walk out.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, I remember I couldn't eat for a week and I started having anxiety. That's where my anxiety started.
Jesus. Oh my God.
So I'm like, I don't know if it's right to cry. Maybe for a dog, it's okay to cry in front of your kids because dogs are cute and it's like, oh, it's so sad. But like, don't.
Dude,
I hope your grandparents are dead already.
No,
your parents, I mean.
My grandmother, when she was dying, my uncle Jerry and my dad called me. I was doing radio in Tampa, and
that was a great place to get.
I was on radio and we were partying, and it was like some listener had sent in a envelope full of pills, and we were trying to figure out. I mean, we were having fun. We were drinking champagne. My buddy Cowhead. It's a fun. It's the one. This was like the heyday of Cowhead because he wasn't the number one show in the
I've never heard
market
of him.
at
I
the
love
time.
his name's Cowhead.
Oh,
it sounds like a fake DJ.
You love Cow. Do you ever go do Tampa?
I haven't done Tampa. I've done West Palm Beach.
Okay. Do you go do Paul and Young Ron?
No, what's that?
You'd love them.
Oh, okay, I'll do it.
So
a lot of times I get out of radio stuff because we announce it on Chelsea, so they won't make me do the radio in the morning.
Well, good. You can have some of my dates too.
Well, now it's kind of waning because I don't know. I still think morning radio is a way to go locally.
It's fun.
Yeah.
You end up.
I actually really like doing
great connections.
Yeah.
And there are shows that I'd be like, I wouldn't do that one, but Cowhead's one that you could go in.
If people are fun, I don't like when people are bitter and you can tell they wanted to be a comedian and they're just being shitty in the morning. You're like, okay, stop. But if they're just like, I am this person in this town and I love my position and I'm so psyched people are here to talk to me. Like
that's
that,
Paul
I like
Young
that.
Ron. That's Cowhead. That's the regular guys. There's a lot of really great.
I think I did the regular
Elliot,
guys.
you ever done Elliot in the Morning?
No. Oh, the regular guys are in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, love them. I did.
Yeah.
I think I did 2 mornings. I think I just came back because it was so fun. They're my favorite.
They're great.
Yeah.
That's Larry. You and Larry would get along so fucking
I think
well.
we did. I remember that.
Yeah, because Larry went through a divorce and then got in great shape, and he feels like a million.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. When I was there, I was not divorced yet, and I was thinking of leaving, and I couldn't say anything. So I was very distracted when I was there. And they kept going, you're married. And I was like, yeah. Wait,
did you decide to get the divorce?
Yeah, I hate to say that because I don't want my husband to sound like some man that was wrong. We both were not into it.
Really?
But he's Irish. And what happened was I said, I don't think we want to be married. And he was like, oh, I'm glad you said something I never would have. I'm Irish. I'm like, okay, great. So it's that kind of thing. Like,
Sweet.
We both fucked up.
I want to tell the story about my grandma.
Oh, yeah, tell the story, yeah.
No, but I'm more interested. If you had to, I will tell my name, you tell your name. Like, if you had the prototype comedian that you find attractive, sexy, funny, that you're like, I really would have always hooked up. I'm attracted to that guy. He can be working. I'll tell you my name.
Okay.
The first one I ever went, I was like, oh shit, I got a fucking crush on her.
Who?
Janine Garofalo.
Oh, really?
So intensely. chubby Janine, drinking Janine, skinny Janine, smoking Janine, all of them.
Any combination.
And then I met her one time, and she wouldn't shake my hand. Like I brought her up on stage, she was like, and I was like, but I still, to this day, I watch her on stage, and I think she's hilarious. But that was like that's like my. So like, who would yours be?
Well, I feel like I dated a lot of comedians when I was starting out, but they're not anyone who would know. Mine is, okay, let me really think, because I'm always like bummed. There's no like, I feel like comedians were sexier, like the men were. Yeah. So mine, I feel like it's a cop-out because it's older, and I'm going to say like this version, but like 80s Richard Lewis.
Really?
David Letterman, even now. I know he's not like a comic, but
yeah.
Howard Stern. These are like my huge crushes, and I would like to be with people that are like them. And then I'm trying to think, all right, hang on. Wait. Who? Lenny Bruce. I'm not this person that even enjoys all of his material. I just thought he was sexy. I like a New York Jewish kind of guy that's neurotic and contemplative,
that's
maybe
so
minus the heroin. But I thought he had kind of like a groovy look, and he's like just kind of, just someone that has like a sexual energy on stage. Every comic now is like plaid shirt, fucking hat, like where's my notes? It's just like, come on, you have a dick, use it. Like be sexual. Like if Russell Brand wasn't so disgusting to me, like him.
Yeah.
Like that's the closest I would say. Like I like his weird snake-like charming energy.
Yeah.
So like that kind of person. But I know there's someone on the, because I was talking about this with someone. Even an old Richard Pryor thing I was watching, I was like, he looks fucking good.
Yeah?
Yeah, my mother. You don't say that. One time my mom said something so accidentally racist. We were talking about, it was when my dad was in the hospital. It was Valentine's Day. And my mom and my two sisters were all divorced, all the girls. We were all having dinner with my mom. And we're talking about men that we're attracted to. And my sister Linda just was like, did you ever date a black guy? I'm like, no, I mean, I would, but I just haven't. And I go, I just haven't, and she was like, and my mom was sitting there, I go, I actually have a black friend. He's like really handsome. And I never thought of him that way, but not because he's black, but just because he's flaky, Yeah. And my mom goes, he's not your type. I go, you've never met him. You have no idea who I'm talking about. She goes, I can tell he's not your type. I go, because he's black? I didn't say that. But it's like, that's what she's saying. But anyway, I mean, I think those would be I like a 70s kind of vibe. Like, I still have things for like guys in bell bottoms and feathered hair.
Really?
But I don't want someone to look like that ironically, like a hipster. But these people don't exist.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
I'm trying to think of someone now, like... My friend has a crush on Louis C.K., which I do not get. This I don't want to say, but it's probably closer to it. But he's a friend of mine, and I have never once been attracted to him. Ever. Would never touch him, not attracted to him. And he's crazy. But there's something about like a Mark Maron energy that I think is attractive. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thoughtful, smart, like he talks about like, how do I get my jeans to fit perfectly? But also like, I'm reading this great book on death. Like that kind of thing is my type. Yeah. Minus his issues. I have very good taste. I don't go for damaged people unless it's the usual amount of damage. So like that, damage. But that kind of energy and vibe is.
Yeah, I can see that. I was always attracted to Morgan Murphy.
Oh, well, I'll tell her.
No, not. Yeah, but yeah, please, someone will. I guarantee you. I just said it on. The
I think she would love. I
always thought she was really sexy, and like, and I got along with her really well. Yeah. So I could talk to her, and I was like, wow. And she always has the most interesting perspective, and she was fun in that she would break my balls. Like I had this joke where I was talking about my wife giving birth and about her episiotomy. I didn't even know what it was at the time.
Oh,
Thought it was Italian food.
Oh,
and then,
sorry. I just forgot. My number. I can't believe I said this. Go on. I have my person, but I'll tell you after.
No,
go. No.
I'd rather hear that than mine.
No.
Everyone's like, Bert, I've heard this a million times.
I haven't. Tell me.
But it's some newspaper took a picture of me bending over, pointing to my asshole to the audience. And it's me. It is. And she like copied it and then tweeted me. And she's like, wow. Must be working on some real new think material or something. And I was like, I just got caught. It's like, but anyway, who's your guy?
Did you guys, this is my current crush. I would go out with him in 4 seconds. He's always been one of my favorite comics, and I always forget to cite him as an influence on me. And I think he's adorable, the funniest person ever. And yes, I think he's sexy.
Hold on. Let me guess.
Okay.
LA comic.
Now he is. But not, I mean, he's been here forever because he works in TV.
Oh, he works in TV.
He's on like been on like a million sitcoms. No.
A million sitcoms.
Do you want any more hints?
Yeah, I need more
He was
hints.
on SNL.
Oh, is it the guy? I don't know. I don't
David
really
Spade.
Oh, really?
I've always had a thing. I'm the only girl that doesn't notice height. People are like, he's short. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I like a guy. I mean, I'm 5'5". So
normal. I don't think he's like
he's like
abnormally
5'6" or 5'7" or 5'8" or something. But I'm still 3 inches shorter than that, so who cares? I like these little tiny androgynous people. I don't know. It's just my thing. So I've always thought he was cute. His special Take the Hit is like I just think it's great.
Yeah.
He really nails the like vulnerable stories of childhood, but I just think he's effortlessly cool. And I have always had a crush on him. And when I met him once, it was fucking heartbreaking because he's friends. Like, I'm really good friends with Todd Glass, and David and Todd are like best buddies.
Yeah.
And he just kind of knows everybody, but I've never been around him. And one night, it was years ago, I was doing a show at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. It was just like a stand-up show. I was dropping in to work on new stuff. Came in for 10 minutes. It was Brody Stevens and David Spade backstage. And I walk in, and Brody's like, Jen, good to see you. And he's like, do you know David? And I'm like, no. I said, but I was about to be like, oh, but I love you. And he goes, hey, do you know what order it is and when I'm on? And I go, no. And I go, they usually have a sign up here somewhere. He's like, yeah, where did you put the sign? Like, he just thought I worked there because I don't know, because he didn't recognize me as a comic. And then I seemed to have some authority backstage. And I was just like, oh, I don't work here. And he's like, oh. And Brody's like, Jen's a funny comic. I'm like, oh, don't even get... He has no idea that I really am like an established person that's been around. Like, he doesn't know. He doesn't want to hear him. Like, it's over. We needed to be introduced at a party where we're all laughing. You know what I mean?
It's already fucked, guys.
Yeah,
the shot's in the water.
So he was like, oh, nice to meet you. I'm like, yeah, I love your stuff. So then that's it. I have only met him once, and he has no idea I'm a comic or
He is someone I would love to, he's one of those guys where I've always felt like I've never, like I submitted, I always wanted to be a writer on a show. It wasn't my path, and I understand that now, but when I was younger, I was like, I'm very quickly can write jokes. I just don't do it for me because I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy telling them.
I'm the same way. I love to write quick jokes for other people that I would never say.
In a heartbeat. And I'm obsessed with entertainment. Like when I go to Google News, I hit the entertainment button, and that's what I want. I don't look at sports, although I enjoy sports. I don't read about sports. I don't have jokes for sports. I don't care about that. I love entertainment. I love gossip stuff. So David Spade had the Hollywood.
Oh, the Hollywood thing, not the Minute, but the other thing. Yeah,
the Hollywood show.
I wanted to write on that too.
And so I called my agent at the time, ICM, and I said, I was like, I want to write for it. And they're like, you're not a writer. I was like, I know you don't think I'm a writer.
That's such a dumb thing to say.
No, that's why I'm not with them.
I'm sorry, your client is trying to nail down a job that can make you a percentage every week, and don't tell them what these fucking idiots.
I think there's more money. I had more money to make them in being on camera and not being behind the scenes.
Sure, yeah.
And I'm sure that's what they were trying to say. But I said, look, I've got a kid. I want to say I had 2 kids maybe at the time.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of time. I'm doing the road. I will hop off the road, spend time with my family, and write for David Spade, and I can write trust me.
Yeah.
And they were like, all right, we'll give you a submission. So I get the submission. I write it. It was really, I was really proud of it.
Yeah.
Send it in, and they're like, they want to meet with you. And I was
awesome.
like, Hugh Fink, I think, started running the show. I was like, really? And they're like, they really like your submission. They want to meet with you, and then I got a TV show.
Oh.
And so
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was on Spike, and they were like, you're not gonna just do the TV show; it's more money.
Yeah.
But I was like,
You
really
would have been happy doing that.
I would have loved it because I like his voice, and I could have written for his voice really easily because it's not mine. I like stand up. I can write stand up that's not for me very easily.
Yeah. My
stand up is super personal, and it's really hard because it's like they're kind of huge. Tentpole stories, and they're really outrageous, and so I want to make sure that I stay as close to the truth. If it wasn't me, like that's why people can tell one of my stories and make it better because they don't really care about the facts.
Right? They're not like, well, that didn't really happen. Yeah, I get that way too. I get obsessive about. I can't exaggerate.
Yeah.
It has to be this really happened. Yeah, I
don't ever want to be the guy where I'm so concerned with people thinking I'm lying because they're so outrageous that I don't ever want to be that guy. So I am married to the facts, and I can't pull them out. And sometimes the truth is a story doesn't end funny.
Yeah.
And
you're like, well, I hope you enjoyed the middle.
Yeah. The middle part was great, right?
But I think that's fine. I hate this whole thing. It has to have a big ending. It has to have a big. Sometimes it doesn't. That's what's like, oh, that's interesting. But I'm like that too. I get mad when people are like, did you make that up? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm like, no, I don't want to lie to anybody on stage for some bizarre reason. I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff. I don't like my least favorite kind of comedy. And I feel like old lady time. It's like the younger kids who something about them, like, I don't know when this happened, and it might not have even happened. I might be making it up. There was a shift in comedy after I'd already started doing it for a while, where suddenly the comic had to present themselves as the winner of a situation. And I'm like, that was my problem with, and I think Dane Cook is really funny, but I had a problem with some of his bits where he ends up being like, so I did that to that guy. Like the bit about the atheism and the tree turns into something, sneeze and bless you. He has this big bit that he did in the round at Madison Square Garden. It's funny, but it's about, why can't I say bless you? And so this happens and this happens. And it's this big story in the end where his argument wins that there is a God or something like that. But I'm like, I don't like when the person is triumphant unless they were sucking and failing and failing and failing in the story and then they accidentally came through victorious. But a lot of stuff like that, or someone's like, you know what I do to people? I just trip them. And then I'm like, nah. And then they fall and I'm like, yep, that's what I do. Like that kind of energy.
Take it, sucker.
I think that was like a big thing I saw happening.
That was a really big movement. I know I definitely had my version of that at the time. I had a joke with Dimitri where we were on a subway and a bunch of black dudes walked in. And Dimitri went to fucking Yale. He has not a racist bone in his body.
Yeah.
I grew up in the South, the segregated South, and I noticed it. And then I got off the train. Dimitri didn't get off, and he was like, this isn't my stop. And I was like, sure you don't want to come with me? And he's like, no. And so then I jokingly stuck my head back in the train and go, all right, Dimitri, I'll see you at the rally on Thursday. White power. And the black guys fucking lost it. And it was a true story. And Dimitri.
I know that story. That's really funny. But that's not you being victorious. That's you being like a silly prankster.
But I'll tell you something that's really fascinating. You say that. That wasn't my voice. That was just something I did with Dimitri. I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Told on stage.
You mean they lost it laughing?
The black guys,
Yeah,
the black guys thought it was hilarious.
That's not quite what I mean at all.
What?
The winner stuff. I don't think that's
no. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I had a meeting. I called in with Richard Donner, the film producer.
Oh, I don't know the name.
Donner.
I'm dumb. I don't know anything.
I want to say it's Donner. He did like Goonies and.
Oh, okay.
I got called in. They wanted to have a meeting. They'd heard one of my stories that someone else was telling, and they heard that story, and they wanted to meet because of that. And I went, that's interesting. It was a weird kind of like. And the machine story. I don't know if you've heard the machine story. When I was in college, I robbed a train with the Russian mafia, and so yeah, it's the reason I have a book. It's the reason.
Oh, I love it.
It's a really good story.
I've heard of it because the machine sounds familiar.
So I go into the meeting, and the guy goes, I heard, the Tracy Morgan story, and I know that. I heard the machine story. And when I heard the machine story, I went, Bert wrote the Tracy Morgan. That happened to Bert. And I went, how did you? I had said nothing. I said, how did you know that? And he goes, because it's your voice. He goes, you know who you are? You're the moron that gets involved in crazy things, and you just kind of don't do anything, and you just kind of hang out and witness it all. And I was like, and he goes, you get caught up in crazy moments. And he was telling me about me, and I didn't realize I did that, but that totally is. I have a hard time saying that I said the joke. A lot of times I will write a joke and then say, my buddy said that in the story.
Interesting.
Because I don't want people to think I think I'm funny.
Right. Because then they smell it, and then now you have to prove it even more, be funnier.
Right.
It's actually as easier to
always
just go,
give the other person the joke.
Yeah.
To the point where I will tell jokes that I wrote that I'll say, oh, my buddy's got a good joke, and I'll tell my joke because I'm weird telling it's too vulnerable for me.
Well, also it's like you are kind of, sometimes people don't want to laugh they want to laugh because you're accidentally funny. It's like everyone's ego watching is like, let me figure out if you're funny. Don't tell me your best stuff. Like, I mean, obviously you're doing your best stuff when you're performing, but if you were like, oh, I said this funny thing once, it's only funny if you're like, but I was also shitting my pants in a diaper at a train station while I said it. And they're like, that's great. But yeah, I think people don't like that.
But it's interesting that you saw that because I definitely saw that. I called it, and I'm not saying it's Dane, and I'm not saying, but it was Party Fun Boy stuff. There was a Party Fun Boy era of comedy that I didn't connect with, although that's who I was. And I'm not saying it's Dane, but there was a because
I'm thinking of a different type of thing where it's more like cool, hip,
It was a
Rolling
lot of-
Stone likes you kind of comics. I could say names, but I won't. We like when we whisper over the microphone. Or stories like, I hung out with this celebrity and it was really cool. Like, why is that funny?
Yeah, I don't like. I've never gotten into that, and I to the point where it's like even promoting the book and stuff. I have a hard time like putting myself out there. Like, I'm not a self promoter. I'm not the kind of guy that, look, I've met famous people, but I'm the kind of guy that goes, I met them, now I'm just going to go back and have that one experience with them, because I'm not the kind of guy that would call them.
Oh, I know, but there's people out there who like, because I've been in situations where me and some people have met a famous person, and that now they're friends with that person. I'm like, how did you go next level?
Look, and I love Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart was on a private jet with Ludacris. I'm like, Kevin Hart was like a regular comic that I knew in New York. I'm like, how do you get to that level?
Yeah, you're just
where
good
you
with...
become friends with famous people. I've never...
You seem like the type of person they would want around, that you would be just inducted into an entourage.
I always wanted to be a part of an entourage. But like, I don't have that. Like, I met Elliot Gould. I did a pilot with him, and he gave me his number, and he's like, let's keep in touch. And he'd call, and every time he called, I'd be like, this is fucking weird. And then he's like, we went to dinner one night, and I was like, is he trying to fuck me? Like, how's this work?
Yeah, totally.
Like, I can't maintain famous friends.
I had like one famous person incident, and it was like, she's like, oh, let's have dinner. Let's have dinner. And I was like, Winona Ryder.
Shut up.
Yeah, because I did Drunk History. Did you ever see the one? You know Drunk History, right?
I do. I'm trying to think of the one you did, because I know I saw it.
Oh my God, how have you not done one? You'd be great.
I don't know.
I should tell Derek. They just did their second season. I did a bunch, but the last one I did was on Comedy Central, and it was about some lady in Boston, Mary Dyer, that was like,
I saw it.
Religious freedom, whatever.
Yeah.
And they got Winona to play her. And then at the premiere party for the show, which they weren't even showing the episode I was in, my friend Derek, who created the show, like kind of got close with her when they were filming, because I don't meet the people when they're reenacting the part. And so he invited her. So anyway, he somehow told me, she's reading your book and she loves it. And she texted me, is Jen going to be at the party? I want to meet her. And I'm like, no fucking way. He told me that after. He surprised us by having us meet. So I get to the party early. I don't really know anybody. I'm hiding in the bathroom, and it's in this like beautiful kind of church thing, the Wilshire Abel Theater. And then I come down the stairs in this like weird hallway, and it's literally like how you would want to meet Winona Ryder. She's in this black dress with these boots. Her hair is all crazy, and she's running up the stairs like an angel bat. You know what I mean? Like in a belfry. And I'm like, and she just stops and goes, oh, it's you. And I go, no, it's you. And then we just hugged, and I go, I have loved you my whole life. I mean, you're my whole like teenage existence, is all your movies.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's this weird kind of famous person that's like, no bullshit, way too vulnerable. You just want to like carry her around and be like, you're not supposed to be this nice to everyone, right? Like, she was just like, no, oh, thanks. And she was like, I really like your book, and I sent some friends in San Francisco to see your show last month. And I'm like, why didn't they come up to me? Like, weird mutual enjoyment. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying, like, it was a wonderful moment. So she's very like, then her hand holds mine, clamping down, pulling me, doesn't let go for hours. And then the person kind of running the party was like, I'll get you guys a private table. Like, so we had this little private table after people are just having drinks, but like, you know, it's like passed around food, but the table we had like had food set on it and drinks and whatever. So someone kept catering to us, thinking this is Winona's friend that she brought. And we just talked all night. And then, of course, every nerdy comedy dude comes over. Hey, Jen. I'm like, get out of here. You're trying to meet fucking Winona.
Yeah.
Like, go away.
Hey, Jen's good seeing you again.
Yeah, get out of here.
Hey, your hair looks really good. Who's your friend? Is this your
Oh, is this? Oh, hey. Oh. So then after, we went to some bar, like, in the valley that, like, no one was at except, like, 5 other people that we both knew mutually. And so we went there and just like, can we have dinner with... Please hang out. And then she would text me, like, let's have dinner, let's hang out. And then the text would just be random, like, did you read this article and whatever? And she's like, let's have dinner this week. But I was too nervous. So I kept texting our mutual friend saying, let's all 3 go out to dinner. But because his schedule was crazy.
That's so funny.
Because his schedule was crazy, we couldn't go that week. And then she was like going back to New York. So I could have just been like, yes, meet me tonight at blah, blah. Because she's like, I want to buy you dinner because I want to thank you for... She kind of wasn't understanding what was going on. Like, she felt that doing Drunk History was really cool and good for her career because she wants to get into TV and stuff. And I had nothing to do with casting her, but she just lumped everyone together. She was like, I just want to thank you. But then I never just took her up on the dinner really. And now we're kind of out of touch. Yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I probably could have, but I was so nervous. I wanted to bring my friend. What am I going to go to dinner with her alone and sit there and
do what?
And just
wait for her to try to kiss you?
Yeah. It felt weird. Like, why are we hanging out? And then like, would there be paparazzi bothering her? And then what would I do? And then would she think I'm just hanging out with her because she's famous? Because she really is smart. We talked about like plays all night and she was fun. But I was like, I didn't know what to do.
So
it just felt like her life experience is so much better than mine. Like I have nothing to say to her except that she is so magical and from this world of interesting people because her parents were these like hippies in San Francisco and she's a movie star. She's got such an interesting life that like anything that's not that is interesting to her. She is truly an actress. She's interested in everything.
Yeah.
But I just felt like I had nothing to bring. So I was like, I'm not going to meet her because it's just going to ruin this beautiful moment where we met and it was cool.
That's so crazy. I do that. I'm the same way. I have a really hard time.
Yeah.
Like and then once the friend, like I have a hard time texting back. I'll rethink texts over and over and be like, and then if I text twice and they don't answer, I'm like, never mind, I'm bothering you.
And she's like, if you're ever in New York, let me know. And I'm like, I was just in New York a month ago and I'm in there and I'm like picking it up. Like I can't text her.
Oh, that's so...
I can't. But I'm like, Jim, just text her. She said, just go, hey, I'm just letting you know I'm in New York. But then I'm like, then what?
Yeah.
Then what do I do? Like, I don't know what I'm afraid of. Like, she's going to like do something. I just don't want to disappoint her. She has, then I would see like pictures of her in the tabloids a week later. Like she's back out, getting her career back. She's hanging out with all these fun,
what's she
fancy
doing
people.
now?
I think she was just in a movie that came out this summer, but it was like a critical hit, but not a big hit. I forget the name, but she was just like in a magazine with like, you know, all kinds of actresses and stuff. And I was like at a fashion week, you know, front row, New York City. And I'm like, yeah, that's not my world.
Do you wonder kind of, if that, cause I'm the same way. Like if that is, cause I'm hearing you say that and then I'm going, wow, I wonder now if that is how I've been acting around people that are somewhat famous.
Yeah.
Is like, think about how real you were with that moment and how many times people probably get her number and text her like crazy. And because that's all that's out there, that's what she hangs out with. So she's hanging out with these weird people. Then she seeks you out. She gets a genuine person. You don't text her. And that's how a regular person should act. Like,
right.
That's regular behavior. Like when people get, like I'll give my number and I'm not saying that I'm famous, but I'm sure to some people I'm probably famous.
Absolutely, yeah.
And when they get my number and they text, you know, they don't text you, like, oh, I would have hung out with that guy.
Yeah.
The relationship she would have had with you would have been so genuine because you'd have been so fucking real.
Yeah.
You should text her.
Well, I know. You know, the other thing too was like, I think she dropped off too. It's not like she's...
Well, yeah, she dropped off because you're not putting it out there.
She could easily... Oh my God, you're like the worst. You're like a girl misleading a girl about a guy. No, keep calling him. Really? It doesn't... No, but I mean, she could bring it up too, but it's one of those things where she's so busy, she has a life. If she heard from me, if we ran into each other, I'm sure it'd be great.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be if I texted her like she would have time. But I just one of those things. Maybe I don't want to get my heart broken. But it was a nice moment in time. I'm honored. Her number exists in my phone. I have a feeling it's probably not even her number anymore. She didn't know what was going on that night. Like totally sober, but just like she just needs help. She's like a fairy. Like she just had like a assistant with her. Like, what's my number? And like, where's this bar? Do I have to get on the highway?
I would love to get to that place in my life. I want a personal assistant so fucking
I mean,
bad.
and also she knew everything she was doing. But it was that kind of thing where she had just gotten a new phone and someone was helping her. She's not like an idiot. I don't mean it like that.
No, it's there's a certain level of like, and I'll definitely say like my wife runs my life.
Yeah.
Like this morning she said, she's like, you have a podcast at 11 with Jen. And she knew, cause I told her, she knows all about you. And
I love that. It's it's still creepy. I love it.
And she was like, and then she put these things out. She's like, you need to sign these. We're going to put them in t-shirt sales to promote the book. I want you to sign the Travel Channel ones, put the date on it. And so she like loads it up. She's like, and like everything is like, she's trying to get rid of, I have an obsession with knives. So I buy knives everywhere I go. And if you're a fan and don't give me a knife. That sounds really creepy. But I had a fan give me a knife one time. It was the greatest gift ever.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, it was badass. It was like $40. What a ton. But he was like, I know you like knives. And he gave it to me. He's like, oh, so
Can you
cool.
get that on a plane then? Or do
No,
you have
just
to,
put it in my bag. Carry on. Or in my luggage.
and you can check it, or you can
Check it.
Oh, okay. You know, I was going to give unsolicited advice for your book promotion.
Please.
It's going to sound manipulative, but I don't mean it. Like, I'm the same way with self-promoting. Like, I know just when things get to sheer volume, because I had to hire a publicist, and I was in every single women's magazine, and every article was like, I don't want kids. And then they write the byline of the article, which is like, don't tell Jen what to do. And it was like, oh God, like, you know, like it's almost like putting words in your mouth, like all the articles that you have to write or that are written about you or whatever. And I just felt like I was overexposed, and I wasn't, but just to my little Twitter community, I felt like, oh Jesus. So it can be like white noise, and they can be like, oh yeah, he has a book, cool. And then they won't buy it, but they just know it's out there. And they think, oh, next time I have a thing, a birthday, a Christmas, I'll ask for it. So in that way, it's like people are fine with it, but they get like white noise. Or there's going to be pricks that are like, God, enough promoting or whatever. But what I would do is tell people, I fucking hate doing this. I wrote the book. You're dealing with this big publishing company. I have to be relentless because I know you guys are fans and you see everything I tweet, but there's someone out there in Ohio that doesn't know me. So if I do 30 articles, maybe one will get to them. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's the way publishing companies work. I would like explain it to people and be like, so I got to keep promoting. Like, you guys have been fucking awesome. Thank you. And like do giveaways. Like, I would just lay it out on the line of, I hate doing this, but I know you guys get it. And I don't mean it like bullshit your fans. Like, they do get it.
Yeah.
Like, and they're happy for you. I got the most responsive people like, you have to do this. I get it. Like, of course. Like, don't enjoy it. Like, most people were like that about it. Once I was like, I hate this, but I have to. Just do it.
Yeah,
I'm assuming you're like that anyway.
I'm gonna probably explain. I always try to think out of the box of like, oh, what's a great way to promote this? And then I was like, I think I did something about, hey, I forget. I don't know. My fucking brain's fried. Do you have to get out of here?
Oh shit! Yes. Oh my God, we've been talking for so long.
We've been talking for almost 2 hours.
I have.
Okay, I just know that you have a busy day. And
yeah, I have appointments
literally
and shit.
Could talk to you all day long.
Is this going to be a double episode? No.
No.
Yours are long.
I'll do one. Yeah.
Are they usually this long?
Yeah, I did one with Brody the other day.
How is he?
He's good. He's good. But he definitely was like had a lot of coffee and towards the end, like we're getting like hour and 45, and I know that I can't post anything over 3 hours. So you can tell that I'm starting to wrap it up, and Brody is, he's just, but it's so funny because it's Brody, and it's like it's so interesting what he's talking about because it just is one of the more interesting podcasts.
Oh yeah, all right, I'm gonna have to listen to it.
But it's Brody, and he seems to be in a really good place. He seemed really happy.
Oh, good. Okay, that makes me happy.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Enjoy It. So
yeah.
But what do you have to promote?
Oh, when does this come out?
I'll put it out next week.
Oh, cool. Denver, I'll be at the Landmark Comedy Works January 24th and 25th.
Perfect.
I'm taping a live episode. I have a podcast called I Seem Fun, and so it's on iTunes. It's free. It's an hour a week. I just sit in my room and talk to myself.
Man, I'm in.
It's me talking off the top of my head. Sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's funny. I've done like 30 episodes so far, so it's called I Seem Fun. It's on iTunes or my website, jenkirkman.com.
Go on there, guys. Subscribe, rate, and review. It's so easy.
Don't review.
Just say,
yours.
No, yours. Say something really nice. Just subscribe.
I always say because I always say the worst compliment. I don't know if you ever get these. Once in a while these happen. Someone just comes up to you. It's like usually a family member or family friend. They come up to you and they go, hey, I saw you up there. Like they're literally at a comedy show and then they don't compliment you after. I had I say aunt to be socially acceptable, but I say aunt, but I feel self-conscious. My aunt's friend came to one of my shows.
So funny.
She came to one of my shows in Austin and she just comes up to me after. My aunt was like, I'm sending people to your show. I'm like, you don't have to. If they don't know me, I don't want them there. You know what I mean? And she came up to me after. She goes, I saw you up there. I go, where? Just here? Yeah, no, I know. I was on stage. She goes, yeah, cool that you get up there. I go, yep, that's part of the
I did stand up there.
Number one part of the job. Got to start up there. So then my aunt wrote me a letter like, my friends thought you were a brat the way you were making fun of married people, but it's a loving act I do about marriage and divorce. And I always talk to couples in the audience and it's funny.
Yeah.
There wasn't being a brat at all. Like, I was like, I'm sorry they misunderstood the jokes.
Well, can I ask you, why are we even having this conversation?
Yeah.
I would just
And by the way, got them free tickets, roped them off in a VIP section, bought them drinks, had 2 drinks ready at their table. And I was like,
what is fucking wrong with people?
It's always family. So I always say to my podcast, give it 5 stars and just write, I listened to the podcast. That's the worst compliment you can give. I love it.
Yes. So everyone go on there and go, I listened to the podcast. And then maybe like a ...
Yeah, exactly. So I would promote that, and I have I'm taping a live version of it in San Francisco, February 8th.
Oh, that's great.
And then I have to figure out my road schedule for the year, but just go to my website and buy my book.
Yeah, buy your book. What's your book title?
I Can Barely Take Care of Myself. If they go to my website, everything's there.
Yeah, go to your website, JenKirkman.com.
Yeah, don't watch old stand-up of me, please.
Why?
I hate it. If you want to watch stand-up, go on YouTube and watch my recent Conan. Otherwise, don't watch anything.
Good. I will tell you, it is. I enjoy watching Jen do stand-up. I think you're really funny, and I think you're really great. Like I'm glad. I'm so glad of a couple things in my life, and one of the things I'm most glad is that I had a 13-hour plane flight to think about how to interact with you, because I am so proud that I said, I need to realize that I screwed up and that we're friends like this now.
I love that that's one of the things you're grateful for in life. I would say that, then my kids, then my wife. It's definitely the 13-hour flight.
It goes Jen Kirkman, my first kid, Leanne, then my second kid. Thank you so much for doing
thank
this.
you for having me. I hope your fans are delighted.
Oh, they're going to love this one. They're going to love this one. Thank you.
Bye.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.